We are rolling. I listened to us when we were talking about that other thing. We sounded fine.
That wasn't for public consumption.
It was not.
I got a more wholesome story. But okay.
Cookies. Here we go.
No, I made friends with a small cat. But I've encountered this, and I like this little fella. He always comes up to me and he's always like, "Hey, John," and I'm always like, "Yo, what's going on?" And we just hang out, you know.
For long.
You see, it's weird because I will walk around our complex and he will meet me at my door and walk with me the entire rectangle.
Oh.
Yeah, it's cool.
He's a chaperone.
Yeah, he's a chaperone.
Yeah.
He's making sure I don't get into trouble.
A temporary pet.
Then I was like, you know what this little guy would love? If he had some cat treats. And then I thought about the idea of buying cat treats, even though I don't live with a cat, and feeding them to this little lad. And something about that felt really unseemly and creepy.
No, that's not creepy at all.
John,
Bryan.
I don't think that's creepy.
It's not, because my granddad did the same thing.
Okay.
He didn't. In the last few.
Brian's granddad is a real.
So my widower granddad, in his final years, without a wife and without a family cat, he used to go around the block to the opposite side and feed another person's cat that was waiting outside until 6:00. And my granddad had to make sure to never meet the owner of the cat because it would be awkward and weird.
Oh, see, this is the thing, okay? Like, I feel like if I would, like, bring some treats to feed this cat, and then what if I meet their owner? And their owner is like, "Oh, you're feeding him treats. Do you have a cat?"
I think it would be... Say yes. They don't need to know the truth.
See, Niamh, if it's not creepy, why do I have to lie?
Well, maybe to make it seem more casual, because I know a lot of cat owners whose cats go visiting other people might not want you to feed their cat because maybe their cat's on a diet or it has special like food it needs or some shit. But you still want to treat the little cat.
I want this little fella to know that I appreciate his friendship.
Maybe catnip, because you could pretend it's like your weed if you get caught and that you were just smoking weed with the cat.
I feel like, Niamh, you suggested like something as if it would somehow improve the situation, but that sounds like it could potentially make things much worse.
No, John, I got these dry treats. You seal them up. They're tiny. You do one a day. That's enough.
Okay, well, that sounds all right.
So at that point, it's kind of like chewing gum, you know, like it's just a little bit of food, you know, you don't necessarily, you just, it's more for the taste rather than any bad appetite thing.
Okay.
Maybe you could keep like dried fish in your pants.
I was thinking that. And then like I thought about like, well, what if I expand this outwards? Because there's like loads of kids around.
It'd be cool if...
And I could just bring sweets, you know, and I could be like, here you go, children.
I would like if you had like special compartments in your shoes.
I could become like the cool guy around my apartment complex who just has free stuff for animals and children. Welcome. Sometimes I worry about... Okay, look. I'm not doing the intro just yet. I'm just going to slam the brakes for a second. People have been linking me like the live-action Yu Yu Hakusho that's coming out in December of 2023 all day.
Oh, that's soon.
Yeah, and my response to it is always like, there's no way I'm going to be alive by then. And I've had one or two people... Some people, I think, you know, you get like a little laugh or something, but I've had one or two friends kind of like, what? I don't know how to handle that.
We don't know what the future holds, and sometimes you have to be a bit like negative.
But
for fun.
I just can't imagine being alive then.
Yeah, me neither.
I don't know anything. I'm not saying anything's gonna happen, but just
projecting into the future that far. Why do it?
I wouldn't put all my eggs in one basket like that. You know,
No.
You don't know.
You don't know. Welcome to the Let's Fight a Boss video game podcast, the world's strongest video game podcast. I am sitting here with two people who have been dead for several years. It's to my left, He disappeared in 1972 and was never seen again, leaving behind a wife, 8 sons, and 1 daughter. It's Bryan.
Someone marry her.
I'll do it.
And to my right, some say she still walks the halls of this house. It's Niamh.
Hello. That's what my ghost says.
Hello. It's Niamh. Niamh, what would some other things your ghost say be?
What? What would my ghost say?
That's pretty spooky.
Yeah, it would just be...
Wait, what?
They'd be watching TV and I'd be like, what? This is crazy. That's how I'll make my presence known.
Something about like a ghost being like, holy shit, a television show is really good. Oh, how you guys doing?
Okay.
Like, come on. How are we really doing? Bryan,
lukewarm.
Let's dig into it. What's going on?
I have a cough and I had some honey tea with extra honey, and I still want to clear my throat, and it's pissing me off, honestly. Fuck this.
Fuck that. That sounds infuriating, Bryan.
Yeah, it is.
Niamh, your turn. Let it all out.
I don't know. I tried to make orange juice today out of oranges that were going off, and you cannot get a lot of orange juice out of an orange when you do not have an orange squeezer or juicer.
So what'd you do?
Like, I stabbed it a bunch with a knife and just squeezed it a lot.
I really enjoy cutting lemons into quarters and squeezing them, but then I like to eat the lemon as well.
There's this... Okay. That's weird. It is
lemons
kind of
are
weird.
fucking delicious.
They are, but...
Yeah, but like maybe
John,
as
you're
a
such
drink
a priest.
or in
Why
something.
am I a priest?
That's just like a
I'm
very
indulging
intense
in my
taste.
hedonism.
Yeah. There's a scene, like, not to bring it back to the OC, but I may as well. There's a scene in the OC where Marissa goes to a party and she just sits on a counter and eats limes. And no one is like, why are you eating limes?
Because that girl is troubled.
That is so
She
Marissa.
is.
I guess
Act casual at this party.
speaking of the OC, Niamh.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to do this thing now where I'm going to give you an update on the OC every few weeks because that's all I'm spending my time watching.
I think it's fair game.
I have taken a tiny bit of a break to watch a very bad lesbian reality TV show called The Tampa Bays, which is just absolutely terrible.
Why didn't they call it the Tampa Gays?
Well, Bays is like spelt like Bays.
My question withstands.
Yeah, I don't know.
I bet they did, and some exec was like, I know it's progressive, but
Let's not call them the Tampa Gays. Anyway, not a great show, but it did interrupt my OC watching. So last time we were talking, I was on around episode 8, and the last thing that happened was Marissa overdosed when she was in Tijuana because her parents were getting a divorce and she was just having a pretty bad time. I remember my memory of OC was like Marissa's dealings with mental health stuff kind of happened later on as it goes on, and I even felt it kind of came out of nowhere. But with this, they're doing a lot of groundwork for Marissa not being very mentally well. And it's a lot of weird stuff like now today everyone's very pro-therapy kind of stuff. In the OC, Marissa is asked to go to therapy after her nearly ODing, but she really doesn't want to, and it's kind of seen as a threat that her mom's going to send her away to this kind of place, and there isn't a lot of therapy for a long time because she's so afraid of it. And it's kind of like the OC trying to tackle kind of sensitive topics with as much kind of care as it could during that time period. So it's kind of like, it feels really weird for people to be really negative about therapy, I guess, in a like show that's aimed at teenagers.
Especially in LA show, which would be, ahead of the curve. Well, not ahead of the curve, but
you would presume maybe that it would be a little bit more. And like one of the episodes that was really interesting about it was here's some of the stuff I noticed. Men and women in this cannot be friends with each other. It is men and women can be friends, but it's always a little romantic. Women cannot be friends with each other. And that's such
like real life.
That's such an old trope that I haven't seen in so long.
Niamh, come on. that's how these things go.
Are Summer and Marissa just competing with each other? Or
it's like they're friends, but also most of their drama and their conversations kind of surround them getting with different boys kind of thing. It's all about the boys they're dating. So there isn't female friendships that don't surround the relationships that they're consistently having. And when a new girl is introduced, they just have to hate her straight away because she is now a hurdle.
Obstacle,
an obstacle to get by. So Seth, who's the really nerdy guy, he starts double dating Marissa and another girl called Anna. So Summer. And so Summer and Anna kind of have to hate each other for plot standards to kind of happen. And it's just like, you're kind of seeing the show struggle with these things because it makes them friends after a while, but only to get back at him. And then when he's back available again, they become not friends again. And they're like, it feels dated in that sense, which was a pity, but it's also like, this could be done so worse. And I can see why people like the OC because it did the stuff a tiny bit better.
Yeah, I think that stuff has gotten a bit better, but for the whole, I feel like there's still so much media that really struggles with like male-female platonic relationships.
Oh, for sure.
Like, it's weird.
Yeah, I think they've definitely done better on like women can be friends with each other, but like I think guys and girls being friends without it being like romantic or kind of go off that way is still something that doesn't get done right unless one of them is gay. Another episode that I thought was really interesting was episode 12, and this is the gay dad storyline. So like Luke's dad gets caught kissing another man.
I forgot about this.
Oh no.
And it's like, it's so strange. Luke was the bully up until this point. He used to bully Ryan, the new kid, and he used to bully Seth forever because Seth's nerdy. And then Ryan and Luke have to do a project together. When they go to their, like, Luke's dad's car dealership, they catch Luke's dad kissing another man. And it's just the strangest thing happens because it gets out, and it doesn't get out because of Ryan, because Ryan's a good boy, but it gets out through another avenue. And it's just a montage of people calling each other in the town to tell them this awful secret and taking just such glee in it. It's just like, it was really horrible. It was just like this whisper network happening in seconds. Like people ringing up people at home being like, hey, have you heard the news? This neighbor's gay. Like it was this scandal in the community. And it was like they all saw a tiger walking around in the area and they had to warn each other. And it was just like, it's so strange. I haven't seen that in a really, really long time either. And afterwards, like Luke reacts and he gets really homophobic afterwards. But by the end of the episode, Luke and Ryan team up to beat up these guys who start calling them gay. But it kind of feels like they're not sticking up for the idea of Luke's dad being gay. It's more like they're sticking up for themselves being called gay, if you get me.
Totally. That's not great.
It's not great.
No.
But then at the end of the episode, there's a moment where Luke accepts his dad and hugs him and stuff. So it's like, it was this roller coaster of, oh God, this scandal, and everyone's so scandalized of it, and there's all these jokes about it, and then like, oh, like, I'm not gay just because my dad's gay, and this gay panic kind of stuff. Like, it was so weird. And then like, but then by the end of it, it ends with Luke accepting his dad and them having a hug, and him like, and like Sandy always comes out with the best lines, but basically Sandy being like he can live his life the way he wants now. And it's just like, okay, well, we've that episode all wrapped up in a neat little bundle.
Well, thanks, Sandy.
So it's like, okay, so it was both shockingly old fashioned, but also like they're trying to be good about it. Like they're trying to be,
they are trying their best for the time period.
Yeah it's like, and it's such a like,
but it's still badly navigated.
Yeah, it's such a time capsule of the time, because like this stuff is crazy. I'm sure if I looked up this episode, this was a huge deal when it aired as well. So just stuff like that happens. Now Luke is an outsider like everyone else, because he knows when he goes back to school, he'll get bullied for having a gay dad. And he does. And now Luke is no longer the bully main guy at school. He is now part of the freak squad.
Sounds like Luke has like a really good character arc.
Luke is the most interesting character, but now that they've finished the dad gay plot, they're like basically like, Luke is stupid and hangs out with them and kind of is a lovable himbo. Luke is totally a himbo. But yeah, it's like, the series is a huge up and down, and like every episode is packed full of stuff. You feel like with TV these days, you're kind of working towards something all the time. But like these episodes have so much happening every time. Like a gay character gets introduced, that whole episode is that won't be touched on much again. Like Ryan, they will have an aunt who will appear. She'll be there for 2 episodes and cause drama and then disappear. Like so much shit happens.
I forgot how TV used to work like that.
Yeah. It's like, I saw a tweet, I'm sorry for mentioning a tweet, but I saw a tweet recently that said there could be a TV show called Surfing Vampire, and the whole series would be about him getting his board with only 10 minutes to him actually surfing. But older TV, you would have the surfing happen all the time. It would just be a surfing vampire.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and you can cut my surfing vampire thing.
Well, now we gotta leave it in.
Is surfing vampire actually the example they give?
I can't remember. I think so. I didn't explain it well. It doesn't matter. Either way.
I really like surfing vampire.
Yeah, me too.
Because he can't go out during the day, and that's when the best waves are, bro.
Shit!
He can only go out at night.
Oh, he has such a tragic but beautiful existence.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think we could request some surfing vampire? Brian, sorry, would you be able to do just a little surfing vampire for us?
No.
You have to say hang 10 like a...
Like a Transylvanian vampire. I'm shit at vampire accents.
Really?
You can only do robot vampires.
I don't know. Is it like blah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Look at those waves!
Oh. Okay. What the fuck was that?
That's a terrible vampire, Brian. Try again.
Oh, no.
It's a very Irish vampire.
Sorry, my brain is gone today. Okay.
Would you look at that wave? Random.
Our Jesus, we're going to get scorched in the sun if we go out now.
Did it?
Blah, look at the waves today.
I like that every sentence of his has to start with
Blah. Well, yeah, because he threw blood somewhere. I want to surf these waves.
There, another iconic fictional character created by the Let's Fight a Boss video game podcast.
I'm too tired tonight.
Sounds like the OC's a real time.
It is a real time. I'm not finished the first season yet. Because it's so long.
Yeah, because it's pre-writer's strike, so each season is like 24 plus episodes. Mm-hmm. Whereas now it's like closer to 12, or at least first seasons are always 12 now. They wouldn't order 24 episodes on a first season. It's
so funny, again, with it being a time capsule, Seth's like, we should join Friendster. And obviously Facebook has changed its name to Meta now. We are like 3 names in at this stage.
Riverdale's coming back next week.
They should go to the metaverse in Riverdale.
They could.
Can we talk about the metaverse for a second?
I don't know if we can. I don't think anyone knows what it means.
I didn't watch any of this. I don't want to know.
I don't. Whenever I hear anything about it, it's people talking about video games in a way that leads me to believe the most they've ever experienced video games is watching people in movies play video games. It's all this bewildering stuff of like, what if you could take your sword from The Legend of Zelda and use it in Halo?
That sounds like shitty game design.
I know.
How do you balance that? That sucks.
When I was a kid, right, there was a Sonic and Knuckles cartridge, and it was so fucking cool because you could open the top of it and put Sonic 3 in the top of it, and you could play as Knuckles in Sonic 3.
You could?
It was rad. And of course, my stupid kid brain was immediately like, holy shit, I can play as Knuckles in whatever I want. So I took the Alien 3 Sega Mega Drive game, put that on top, and got ready to play as Knuckles in Aliens 3. And of course that wouldn't work, you stupid little idiot. But that's what these people nearly seem to think game design works like.
Yeah, all this metaverse stuff to me always like discounts the role of the artist and the designer and the development team. Like, who's going to make this shitty stuff?
Also legal.
I feel like it's kind of like the games as a service thing where it's like, is this really going to make for better games? And like the answer is like, we're gonna make a lot of money off this, you know.
These shitty, useless cosmetics.
Yeah. Anyway, speaking of shitty, useless cosmetics, guys, listen to the new Limp Bizkit album. That's not a fair assessment.
Fucking brilliant.
I don't even think that.
Limp Bizkit still sucks.
Limp Bizkit still sucks.
Limp Bizkit!
Bizkit.
I've got a track list here.
Okay.
This was released on October 31st, 2021.
A very critical detail, as we will come to find out.
Number 1, Out of Style.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, Dirty Rotten Biscuit.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3, Dad Vibes. Number 4, Turn It Up, Bitch. Number 5, Don't Change. Number 6, You Bring Out the Worst in Me. That's the Halloween song.
That's my favorite one.
7, Love the Hate. 8, Barnacle. 9, Empty Hole. 10, Pill Popper. 11.
Pill Popper's about the pharmaceutical industry.
Whoa. 11, Snacky Poo. And then number 12, Goodbye. This album is 32 minutes long.
Yep.
That's all you need that to be.
Yeah.
I went for a 44-minute run today, and I didn't know what to do for the last 12 minutes.
Was it silence?
I stuck on Avex Twin.
That's a good compliment. That works.
So it kind of hit me that this album is the first full album I've listened to, like the first new full album I've listened to in maybe 10 years.
What? Why?
Did you not listen to Deftones Ohms earlier this year?
I remember thinking I should listen to the new Deftones album and then not doing that. And that's generally how because all I listen to now are like playlists I curate from weird singles I find.
Yeah, just like tracks on shuffle.
Exactly.
Yeah, but have you not went, wow, that sounds great. I'll check out that album it's from.
Spotify, go to their page, most popular song, listen, not as good as the one I listened to, never listen to this artist
But the
again.
most popular song is like usually not the best song.
Suicide Boys' most popular song is not their best song. Interesting. I'm kind of having this really stupid revelation of like, there's like a reason you'd listen to a full album.
It's a journey.
I know. Like
it's a message.
You're as of today, you're preaching to the choir. But
because of Limp Bizkit?
Because
oh my God.
Limp Bizkit has reawakened my love of long form music, okay?
The last song is acoustic guitar and it's Fred bearing his soul.
Yep. Do you want to know my favorite thing about this album, Niamh?
Yeah.
So, Bryan, what date was this album released on?
The 31st of October 2021.
Also known as
Halloween.
There's one song that starts with "It's Halloween." And I just think that's brilliant because Fred Durst was like, well, this album's going to come out on the 31st of October, so I should probably mention that in one of the songs. I like this song, or I like this album.
It's
like,
great.
You know, I would say not every track's a winner, but those first three fucking go. Like they're fun.
It's got the same energy they had 20 years ago.
Totally. Completely unaffected by modern music.
And like Limp Bizkit were at their peak in 2001. Like that's when Fred Durst had his cameo in Zoolander. And they were like, everybody famous is going to be there. And they showed like Fred Durst and Paris Hilton and shit. Like, because they were
Still both legends.
They were the most famous people in 2001 that would work. And you know, the late David Bowie's in it as well. That's a weird film. But yeah, like, because Fred Durst and Ben Stiller are friends.
Yeah.
They probably still are, because...
Niamh, there's a line in it where Fred Durst says, "Finally a fantasy." That's for you, I think.
Wow. He does speak to me.
He gets it.
There's approximately 3 songs in this that are about how Limp Bizkit are kind of out past it, but you know what? Fuck it. We're still going to bring it.
That's
he also
fun.
does use the lyric, "Fresh kid on the block coming at you."
Oh.
And there's a really good song about the haters. And there's one thing that the haters never figured on. Do you want to know what that is, Niamh?
What's that one thing?
That Limp Bizkit don't give a fuck.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Can I ask one question?
Go for it.
Is the Halloween song like suitably spooky that you could put it on a Halloween album?
It's about Fred Durst. No.
Oh. Okay.
It's like one word in the...
It's about Fred Durst being a ghost and haunting you.
Well, that you could probably put that on a Halloween album, maybe.
I mean, you could. I think people would be like,
yeah.
why'd you do this?
I feel like there isn't enough
Like I
scary
don't
songs.
hear Monster Mash coming on and then being followed by this. But yeah, I had a fun time with it, and like it's been weird because this is the most positive I have ever heard anyone be about Limp Bizkit, and all I can say is that I'm so glad that the rest of the world caught up to me. Although, Bryan, you've always been very positive about Limp Bizkit. We went to see them in concert. We travelled across international waters to see Limp Bizkit in concert, Bryan.
We've seen Limp Bizkit live. We saw them live in August 2009.
And Fred Durst did a really cool thing to break up the mosh pit because he knew that was dangerous. He was like, I'm going to make my witch's brew. And he made everyone like run around in a big circle.
He like stirred the mosh pit and then they were all jogging and it was so funny to see a bunch of moshers jog. And so John and I were
real out of breath real fast.
So at that same gig, John and I were kind of in the like standing area, and within 2 minutes we were getting bumped too hard and we had to go to like the old people section where like the parents were.
Yeah. I can remember.
You gotta stay safe at the Limp Bizkit concert.
Oh, hey, I used to be so into mosh pits, and that ended the fucking second I turned 18.
Really?
Oh man, yeah. Like, I ain't doing that no more.
Yeah, neither would I.
Yeah. I do miss being a teenager and like
not hurting if you got hit.
I miss having foldable bones.
Yeah.
Like for me, it was when you were on like a city bus and you wouldn't need to use the handrails, and if you got knocked around and you fell on the floor, it's fine. Like you're just
Just grow new ones.
It's funny.
If I fell now, I don't think I could get back up. Like, I might just die there. It would be less embarrassing.
I'm so worried about falling in the shower. I think like that's it. This is how it's gonna happen. I'm old.
I'm so old.
What was your last mosh pit, John?
Oh, it would have been for some like teenage bands that never got anywhere. For a while, I became very ingrained in a group of new metal teenagers who would like basically go on stage and play Enter Sandman, and it'd just be the best thing ever. And it was probably shit, but it didn't matter because you were there with your friends, and it was the best thing ever. But then
all being fast boys.
But then the band whose scene I was a part of like kind of split up, and one of them got really depressed, and the scene really stopped being fun.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Fun story.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I like the part where I got to mosh.
Jada Pinkett Smith from her band, they were playing at Download.
Whoa, Download.
Yeah, she was in the crowd and she spat on me a little, and I was just like, this is so hot.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
But also I'm afraid.
Niobe from The Matrix Reloaded spat on you.
I know.
That's class.
That's pretty good. Bryan, what's your favorite concert story?
Someone threw a hot dog at Tom York when I went to see Radiohead live, and he dodged it and went fucking mental, like with his dancing, because he dodged a hot dog and used that as energy.
That's so much better than being like, don't anyone do that.
Don't throw a hot dog.
Yeah, so a couple weeks back when Wooly was telling that story about them being lame, I was kind of disappointed because I think whenever they're doing a show in Dublin, they're pretty cool.
I think Dublin shows have just good energy.
They do.
It's because it's small enough that, I know, it can still be kind of intimate.
I think that's why OTT gets like crazy good wrestlers from all over the world, because they're always like, oh, there's a fucking hot crowd.
You know, in the mid-2000s when an American band would do a Dublin show, but they try and warm up the crowd, and they'd be like, we don't like George Bush either. And everyone would be like, yeah. Because, like, that's all the fucking ammo they had.
Mm-hmm. To this day, the best heel wrestlers I've ever seen, or well, the best heel promo I've ever seen live, was just two wrestlers coming out into an Irish crowd and being like, it's great to be back in good old England.
That'll win the crowd over.
Yeah.
Oh, people went fucking mental. It was beautiful. And then one of them was like, and your soccer team sucks. Oh. Bryan, tell us about Fairfax. This is the Netflix animated thing, is it?
It's an Amazon Prime
Amazon
animation.
Prime, sorry.
I've only watched 4 episodes out of the 8 episodes. It's kind of adult animated comedy, but the main cast are 4 13-year-olds who hang out on Fairfax, which is the street that sells Supreme, Diamond, Rip and Dip, Golf Wang, Hype Beast clothing.
Are these little rich children then? Yeah.
Some of them are rich. One of them is probably rich too, but she's trying not to be rich because she's the eco warrior of the group.
Okay.
It's very fun to watch a show where you're seen. You're just like, oh, these little shits. As someone who's shopped on Fairfax more than once, I could see the geography and I could be like, okay, and so like they can't use real brands like Supreme, but you know they have like the stand-in for Supreme. But it's about 3 locals, and this new kid shows up, and his parents own the vape shop beside the main clothes shop they wait outside on Thursday mornings to queue for their latest drop.
Is this good? Because like sounds to me it could just be very annoying. Like it seems like a very strong reverence for consumerist
it is, yeah.
culture. But is it funny? Like, do they do like? Is it done well?
I thought it was very funny.
Okay. Do you have to be into vape to get the humor?
No, it's just more about like obnoxious fads. Like I don't know if there's a crypto episode. I'm sure there will be, but it's just about the narcissism and the attention-seeking hype about portraying a sense of success. Like the most popular girl at school because they all go to the same high school, and for some reason the Hollywood logo in their town, because it takes place in LA, but the Hollywood logo is the Fairfax logo. And it's this weird, absurd, heightened reality where celebrities intermingle with civilians, I guess, because they want their street cred. So there's a bit where they meet a bunch of street artists, but one is Joaquin Phoenix. And he's just dousing himself in petrol because that's his latest statement.
Wow, okay. I can think of several incidents in real life that are as silly as that, so that checks out.
He's a vegan in real life, so you know, it all interlinks. Now, what did Bryan mean by that? Who cares? It's fucking Joaquin Phoenix. Who gives a shit? The fuck's that guy gonna do? Hit us with his Oscar?
What did he get an Oscar for again?
The fucking Joker film.
Oh,
Did
really?
he?
Yeah, he won an Oscar for that.
Huh.
Proud of him?
I mean, he was fine in that movie.
He actually was. He was alright.
Yeah, he was grand.
Good stuff, Joaquin.
Big fans over here.
Yeah. It's just one of those cartoons where I was like, you know what? This is an improvement over a lot of the other adult animations you would see on streaming platforms.
Oh, there's so many of them, I lose track.
And a bunch of them all look like palette swaps of each other.
That's because they all have the perfectly circular eyes and like the kind of schlumpy bodies.
With the 3/4 front angle.
Yep.
Yeah.
And whenever they talk to each other, they're in 3/4 front and not in profile for some reason. This show at least is kind of going for something a bit more graphic, like it looks like a skateboard deck art.
Yeah, it's got a look.
Yeah. The voice cast is good. It's racially diverse voice cast, voiced by the correct people voicing the characters that they look like, which is better than other shows.
The history of animation.
Yeah, even in less than 12 months ago, there was criticisms of that are now being resolved, but this show is using the criticisms of the shows in recent years and going, okay, well, we can improve this from the beginning. It's not going to be like this deep, meaningful cartoon, but as far as a cartoon that wants to make you laugh, made me laugh.
Sounds good.
In the 4th episode, a character gets cancelled.
What does he get cancelled for?
He loves his dad too much, and
Fuck him.
He shares like nearly 48 posts in 24 hours about how much he loves his dad. And people are like, dude, you can't flood the feed.
So he gets cancelled for flooding the feed?
Well, a bunch of people are like, maybe he hates his dad. And then they start using hashtag dad hater. And he's like, but I don't hate my dad. It's like, yeah, but everyone thinks you hate your dad now. You gotta fucking write it.
Yeah, that'll happen. So, on a completely separate topic to Twitter outrage, guys, I finished the first season of ReZero.
Still good?
I think, ReZero has some strong points, and I kind of talked about them, a few of them, like the first time I talked about this show, and that was that I really like the time reset option. Subaru, main character, dies, goes back in time, gets to try it again. His checkpoint, if you will, gets updated the more he goes into the series. And I have to say, right up until the end, I enjoyed that aspect of the show. I thought it was cool and interesting. And because, Subaru is kind of he's a very physically underpowered character. He's pretty much the weakest character physically in the entire universe. It's much more about him trying to build alliances with other characters and organize them in a way that when shit goes down, the right people are around him to save him.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Then that's interesting. Some of the characters are I would say mildly appealing. You don't hate them. They're grand. I did not like large swaths of this show for a lot of reasons, and I think there was a point where I was like, oh, that's what this fucking show is. Because, a lot of people say, like, this is one of the most common shows where you'll be like, I don't like this show. And someone will be like, how many times have you watched it? And it's like...
That's not...
I said I didn't like it.
Yeah. And so...
12.
I actually really enjoyed it the 4th time through. Then on the 5th, no good again. But
the sixth one might,
basically, this is a show I think that and look, this is my take on the show. If you like it, if you see more of it than I do, you win. This is a show heavily grounded. You like that, Bryan?
Yeah, because as soon as they win, what the fuck can they say? You
beat me. Good stuff. Basically, this is a show that I really feel like is heavily grounded in otaku-dom. Subaru, it's an isekai. It's like normal dude gets transported into another world. I have a dislike of isekai for several reasons. One, to me, isekai is always like, hey, so you're this schlubby fucking nobody? Well, what if your whole life just disappeared and you could start a new life? And I don't like that because, to me, there's nothing in life you can relate that to. To me, that is pure fantasy. And it's like, okay, well, that's the point, it's a fucking isekai. It's meant to be a fantasy. But, I am just not interested in that. I would prefer to see, I don't know, I don't get what that brings to the table as opposed to just a straight up fantasy series. And to me, the only thing it does bring is hey, you can just forget about your old life. And, that's the case here. The first scene of this takes place in a convenience store. Subaru steps outside, gets hit by a truck, which is how a million other anime start. In fairness, one of which is my 3rd favorite anime of all time, Yu Yu Hakusho. But so then he gets transported to this fantasy world, and the only really discernible trait you have about Subaru before he gets transported to this new world is that he's an otaku. He likes looking at the manga and the magazines. That's all you ever learn about him on a personal level. As far I watched this show a little spaced out, so as far as I remember, and I could be wrong here, you never learn anything about his family life, his interpersonal relationships in our world, anything. It's literally he's basically a blank slate who likes anime, which makes me feel like he's kind of intended to be an audience surrogate. That's not to say he doesn't have his own personality. He does, and I saw a lot of criticism for Subaru's character. I don't think he's a great character. I don't think he's terrible. I don't think he's any worse than any other isekai protagonists. And so basically what you start going through then are these cycles of Subaru getting into a situation, getting murdered fucking horribly, and then figuring out getting transported back several days or even a day or a couple of hours or something, then figuring out the best path, So it's kind of this show is like a visual novel with bad ends. Yeah. And you experience a lot of them, and some of them are really horrifying, and I like those scenes because I like weird fucked up horror, And from what I can tell, the deeper meaning that people are pulling from this show is that this is about Subaru basically learning not to be an otaku. He comes out and he sees the maids, and he's like, oh wow, his mind's fucking blown that he's seeing a real life maid, and oh, you're the beautiful princess I have to save, and all this kind of stuff. And it's about him learning that these people are not like characters in an anime, they're actual people. And that seems to be a kind of sentiment that really resonated with people, because I watched some videos by just people to see what do they like about this show, and that seemed to be a really common occurrence. That is not something I can relate to at all, because I feel like I have a weird relationship with just the core idea of otaku-dom. I love old school otaku culture in that I think it's really fascinating when you look at how a lot of that stuff started, and what conventions were, and more the real life story behind anime getting traded through tapes and all that stuff. I think that stuff's fucking cool. And you look at Daikon and stuff like that, and how influential that was to everything. That stuff's awesome. There is a point, and I think it happened around late 90s, mid 2000s with anime, where anime started to become incredibly self-referential. And to a point, all genres are self-referential. It's kind of what makes them genres or mediums or all that kind of stuff. But to a point where it starts fixating on hyper-specific things. cat maids, shit like that, you know, like very specific anime tropes, very specific like pieces of animation, a girl running to school late with a bread hanging from her mouth, you know, all this kind of stuff. To me, anime became self-referential to the point that it started to feel to me like a lot of it is like nudging the audience. And I just want to say, I don't think this is all modern anime. I like modern anime. I still think there's great stuff being made. Blue Period and Ranking of Kings are two of my favorite anime in the longest time. They're both fucking excellent. Brian, we should talk about Ranking of Kings just a little bit in a little while.
Oh yeah, we should.
Holy fucking shit, that show. And so I don't enjoy when I feel like a show is pandering is the word I'd use to this idea of being an otaku. And like with ReZero, you know, the only discernible trait he has from the beginning is that he's an otaku. This whole world works like a visual novel centered around him. And the core premise of the show, and what I think people enjoy, is a lot of people think that see Subaru as having like this really great character development where he learns to respect the other people around him and learns that, like, you know, he's not the center of the universe and he can't act a certain way. And where that completely falls apart to me is it's like, okay, he acts the wrong way. He treats everyone like an anime, and he's like acts as like the most self-important person in the world and fucks up in a bunch of ways. He gets murdered. The people he loved don't want to talk to him. All this kind of shit. Everything goes wrong, and then he resets. But then he finds the right path, and when he finds the right path, he becomes the special boy again. Everyone thinks he's fucking amazing. Everyone thinks the earth like is just revolves around this dude. There are so many instances of blushing girls in this show being like, "You're amazing, Subaru." And it is the most anime fucking shit. Like, it just goes back to my core problem with isekai, where it just feels like a kind of indulgent fantasy.
Yeah,
you
I
know?
like the way the idea is that like he starts to learn that these people around him are people, but yet the good ending is them all worshipping him, which is not what people do.
Yeah, he just wins them as a trophy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like this show really plays into the idea of waifus, you know?
Mm-hmm.
One of my least favorite questions I am ever asked is like, who's your waifu? I don't fucking care. I don't know, okay? I like some characters from anime. I don't like have a waifu.
I have Niamh from One Piece.
You have Niamh from One Piece, sure, but like you do not you don't really engage in waifu culture.
Yeah, you
Bryan.
don't have a load of statues of Niamh.
I do.
You have
you have a few in your One Piece collection.
You have more like Donkey Kongs. Donkey Kong is more your waifu than Niamh is.
Yeah, Donkey Kong's pretty cool.
You don't have a shrine.
And I've never heard you say Nami-chan.
Exactly.
Well, no, that's fucking cringe.
Yeah, but so like, you know, in this show, Subaru literally has like a ranking of waifus. He has a number 1 and number 2 girl, and the number 2 girl, Rem, is like hopelessly in love with Subaru. Why? I don't really know.
Because he's the main character.
Yeah, and like, look, I'm sure someone can write me a fucking creed on why Rem loves Subaru. I don't care. I've watched the show.
Because he believed in her one time when no one else did, or he asked her if she was okay.
No, that is actually it.
These girls have so little going on that someone just says, "Are you okay?" After, like, I don't know, they fall over really dramatically, and they're like, "Wow, he asked after me."
Yeah,
So
it's made their whole fucking life.
Yeah.
The episode of ReZero that like just fucking broke me, and I have a feeling I'm about to hurt some feelings now because rip
that Band-Aid.
I suspect there are people who love this episode. It's episode 19, right? I think it's 19. It's around there, and basically Subaru goes through a bunch of shit and decides, you know, he witnesses a bunch of really horrible things, and he decides he doesn't want to be on this journey anymore. So he's going to take Rem, that's the blue-haired Rem, the Meidu-chan, and he's going to run away with her. And they have like a fucking 17-minute conversation where he's like, "We're going to run away together and be together forever." And she's like, "I'd love that so much, Subaru. I love you so much. But I know that you love this other girl more than you love me. And if you don't pursue her, then you wouldn't be the Subaru-chan I love anymore."
Oh, that's so pathetic,
It
Ren.
is
That's
the
so
most
pathetic.
fucking pathetic shit I have ever seen. And that, like, I don't want to shit on people for liking something, and I'm not gonna, like, if that does it for you, cool, Godspeed, buddy. But I don't know how someone can make the argument that that's like good writing or that's good character writing.
No, that is not how the human brain works.
No fucking human works like that. No human in the fucking world. And if they did, there would be something very wrong with them.
Yeah. I'm fine being your human scrap heap.
It's just like you've really like low self-esteem if you're willing, if someone's like, hey, I love you, I want to run away with you, and your response to that is just like, you want to be the person I know you are if you didn't reject me and kiss with someone.
Yeah.
And
Look,
like,
the scene, the
drawing, I love you for
the
that.
drawings in the scene are nice. It's a nice looking scene. Like, it does look emotional, but I couldn't fucking get, and like, not only that, Rem is like, you're gonna pursue Amelia and I'm gonna be by your side all your life to watch you do it. And it's like, this is some of the most indulgent fucking shit I have ever seen in my life. And look, I have indulgent shit, okay? I watch a lot of indulgent shit, but like, I'm never gonna argue it's more than that, you know? And I watched this episode and I was like, this is fucking trash. Like, this is garbage. This is so shitty. And that is the worst episode, and that was my low point with the series. And then, like, you know, the actual girl who's going after Amelia, it just keeps doing this thing, and like, it's so fucking embarrassing, honestly, where it's like, Amelia is the character who has to endure racism. And she's this incredibly beautiful white-haired girl, but she has elf ears because she's a half elf. And people just hate her just because of how she looks.
But he can love her. This is like
you're describing the final scene of the series.
It's literally Ready Player One, and it's just like, oh no, your affliction of your cool birthmark.
Okay,
I'll still love you.
This is even worse than that, though, because this is like, you have cool, sexy elf ears.
Yeah. Oh no.
And like,
you're not an Ogo after all. You are a babe.
And like, you know, the whole drive behind Subaru, like, the main thing that pushes him forward through this story is his fucking undying love of Amelia. And
then why does he go off, ask Rem to run away with her?
Because he's so fucked up at that point, Eve. But anyway, so like,
such a dick thing to do.
But
to her.
Romance will drive you mad, Niamh.
Now, I'm not going to say they don't have some cute scenes together. They actually, they do. Like, there's a cute scene, super fucking indulgent, but it's really cute, where he puts his head on her lap and cries for like 8 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah, garbagey, but like, I enjoyed it. I was like, all right, I can get behind this. But like, in terms of like establishing a deeper emotional connection or an actual fucking, oh my god, like, I love you and I can't live without you. She's a cute elf girl and she wants everyone to be equal and she doesn't like racism. And it's like, that's, I don't know, that's all there fucking is to her, you know?
That's a great character.
And like, so what you have then, to me, is this very indulgent isekai fantasy whose core statement is you shouldn't treat people like they're part of an isekai fantasy while still being a vehemently indulgent isekai fantasy. Like, that is my problem with this show. I have other problems as well. I think it looks like this is the perfect middle point of what all modern anime looks like. There is decent animation. There's never really like massively expressive animation. There's some kind of okay action scenes. All the characters have like some of the characters have backstories that just really like work backwards into this super indulgent mindset of like being a male otaku and all your princesses. There's this character that I actually really like called Wilhelm, and he's like this kind of, I'm just going to describe him as a sword butler. And his whole backstory is that his wife is this master swordswoman, and he wants to get strong enough so that someone so beautiful should never have to lift a blade again. And it's like, fuck off. Like, this
But
is...
she's a sword master. Clearly she might like that.
No, Niamh, you don't get it. She's really hot.
He has to protect her.
I want to get so strong that I can stop you from doing the stuff you love.
So, Niamh, you keep trying to parody this show with comments, but you just keep describing the show one-to-one.
You're like quoting the lines of the show.
You are like...
These are bad things.
Yeah, like...
She has a hobby she enjoys.
I know, and like I was just watching that and I was like, oh, for fuck's sake. I don't think the writing in this show is very good, and in that, like, I don't believe the way the plot events come together that well are that convincing. Sometimes they're good, sometimes it's like, oh fuck, yeah, I didn't think that this character would think this about this. And like, yeah, I got some enjoyment out of that. Everyone talks in anime exposition and it fucking sucks. You see, Subaru, it's only by following our dreams and keeping our heads above water that we can truly live to see tomorrow. No one says that, but they say things not far off that. And
they speak in navel-gazing poetry.
They speak in... That some dialogue in this show is like 2 random poems from DeviantArt being read out side by side.
If only we could hold each other for tomorrow, a winter wish, an ocean breeze. We are each other's eyes. Is that dialogue from ReZero?
Yeah, definitely. And so, like, I'm gonna spoil the fucking last episode of season 1, whatever, but
oh no.
There's a part where, like, Amelia gets mad at Subaru for being a dick and just not listening to her, which is kind of like the show drives this home a lot.
Fair.
But then he saves the day and he does it in the coolest way possible. And then he's like, I love you, Amelia. And she's like, this makes me so happy. This makes me so happy. I can't believe someone finally loves me, even though I look like this. This makes me so happy. I'm so... And she talks for like 4 fucking minutes about how overcome with joy she is about the fact that someone loves her, but none of it is about how she feels about Subaru, and it never is. She is constantly just this prize to be won, and so, like...
Well, all she could ever desire is the love of Subaru, the best character.
Yeah. So look, I thought this show kind of sucked. Like,
sounds shit.
Like, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people with way more generous interpretations of this show. As I said at the top of this, Godspeed, you beat me, you win. Like you like the show.
Okay, you are better at anime than John is.
You are better at here. I'm taking the crown off, and I'm handing it. There you go.
You are anime royalty for defending, dying on the hill that is ReZero.
And look, like, Twitter's Twitter, right? But my God, did a certain corner of Twitter fucking explode over the weekend when I tweeted that I thought this was more like ReZero out of 10. And look, like, I think the majority of people were cool. A lot of people liked the show and were decent about it. But, like, the only thing I'd say is if hearing that someone did, like, vehemently not like a show you like...
Or just a piece of media in general.
Just a piece of media in general, like, that they have a strongly disagreeing opinion with you. If your first instinct is to go to, this person is joking, this person is lying, or this person is stupid, you probably have an unhealthy relationship with media. And that's all I'm going to say about that. I have friends who fucking love ReZero. I don't think any less of them, So, started watching Beastars.
You don't want to talk about Ranking of Kings?
Let's talk about Ranking of Kings.
As of this recording, there's 4 episodes out. The 5th episode is out very soon. Episodes 3 and 4, even more fucked up than we ever thought it could be.
What the fuck? Is that the end of episode? Oh, like, we can't say it. Like, I really don't want to say it. But yeah, you said this to me, Brian. You were like, the end of episode, or the episode 4 is like the most fucked up thing I've ever seen. And like, maybe perhaps a little bit of hyperbole, but there was legitimately a scene where my jaw dropped and I was like, what the fuck?
I screamed and dropped my chocolate bar. I was really...
not your chocolate bar.
Yeah, not my Mars bar. I was very emotional about the whole thing. And then the 3rd episode has 3 particular moments within it that each made me make a noise. Different kinds of noises.
I think that show's ability to, like, every episode so far has, like, it's not like it's an episode from one character's point of view, but its ability to kind of subtly focus on another character and show you their exact perspective they're coming at everything from is amazing. Like, every episode I watch of that, I have a new appreciation for each character.
I think it works because the protagonist, because he's deaf and mute, there's only so much he can kind of carry per episode.
Yeah.
But there's such a huge supporting cast that all revolve around him, but all have their own motivations. They can pull, like 5 or 6 minutes aside for them and push the plot forward that way.
I don't remember the last time I rooted this hard for a protagonist. I just want that little guy to be okay.
He's fucking brilliant.
He's amazing. God, I love that show. To me, that show is getting to like Mob Psycho 100 levels of, see, anime's still alright.
It's something special.
It's something special. You know what else is special? Strategy talk. Bryan.
Yes.
Why don't you tell us about this new Pikmin game?
Pikmin Bloom. I think I spoke about this last time as a news article and I didn't understand what it was, which has led me to downloading the mobile app. This came out on iOS and Android. It's been out for approximately 2 weeks and I am riding that fad to the max. I'm having a great time with it. It's made by Niantic, who did Pokemon Go. They also have a Harry Potter game, which I didn't know they made, but that's being phased out in January of next year. And I think it's very funny that they're shutting down Harry Potter servers while also setting up Pikmin servers. Because if you had told me that Pikmin would be doing better than Harry Potter, I'd be no way. Because like I love Pikmin. I love the Pikmin games. I support any of the spin-offs they make.
A while ago, me and Michelle started playing the Pikmin games. I really like it. It's really cute. Like, those games look beautiful as well. Holy shit.
Pikmin Tree is so good.
But we were talking about like the reasons we think Bryan really likes Pikmin, and I think it's the idea of an army of small creatures that would do exactly what he says.
I love little guys going along the floor. That's why I like Biscuit when he goes around the floor. Like, it's fucking brilliant. Like, it does something funny.
Very good.
There's something really, really endearing about something very small marching with determination. But it's like,
where are you going?
But Bryan, you would also love the idea that these creatures could help you physically organize things.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. Oh my god, Pikmin's so good. Anyway, in this, I've made my Mii avatar. The online syncing works super well, actually. This is a big problem I've had with Nintendo for years, is that their online account stuff has been very, very bad. But I was able to sign in, and it set up my Mii right away, and it's the same Mii that I've carried over from like my Wii and 3DS days, and like it's the same hairstyle and the same kind of cut beard that I do with my Mii. And so he's into like jogging gear and he has a bunch of Pikmin following him. This is an asset reuse game to Pokemon Go in that the base canvas of the map is the same greenery map, and it uses the same geocache points as Pokemon Go, but instead of them being gyms, they're flower buds that need to be bloomed. And then when a flower blooms, there's usually fruit gets dropped, and then you can like feed your Pikmin and you can grow.
What's the goal?
It's not a competitive game. It seems like it's a cooperative game. And I think the goal is it's really, really pushing walking around, but you're not like you are hatching eggs and that you're growing Pikmins, but you're not like using them to fight other people. It just seems like it's just trying to get you out and walk and give you daily rewards for hitting targets.
Okay.
So it's more exercise based, and like it does have the mobile stuff where you can pay to make your Pikmin grow faster and all that.
And when you have a like when you grow these Pikmin faster, what do they do? Why would you want your Pikmin to get bigger or more or many? Like
I have no idea. It just seems like it's
just to make them bigger for.
It just seems like it's
sake
based
of
around
doing
collecting, and it's more like it does a fun thing where your Pikmin can go to certain locations that might be like a couple kilometers away, but when they come back, they will have a postcard of the Pikmin at that location.
Oh, that's cute.
And so
That's deadly.
And so it has that kind of stuff where it's encouraging you to go out, and like it's definitely, you know, they probably wanted to release this sooner, but they couldn't because of lockdown. But I kind of wish it came out in the spring of next year, to be honest. But like the game runs fine, and it syncs with my pedometer on my phone really well, and I have it so that even when I don't have the app turned on, it counts the steps in the pedometer and then sends that information to the app, so then it'll add that total value to it. So it means
you're not missing out on your steps.
I'm not missing out my steps.
That's a very, I like how Bryan a detail that is.
Oh yeah. It is very specific. It is an exercise app for a weird special boy
who loves Pikmin.
I don't know how long this will last. I'll probably forget to do it one day in December, and then I'll just lose interest. But for a mobile app that is mildly predatory. Like all the fly stuff is tucked away.
That is the best kind of predatory.
Yeah, because you know how mobile apps are.
Oh, yeah.
But all that stuff is tucked away, and the menu is kind of shit. Like, it's a lot of sliding tiles around to find what you're looking for. And sometimes there's more than one way to get to where you want to navigate, but it could be optimized. But yeah, it's fine. It's nice seeing Pikmin in HD. There's some cute animations of them. You can turn on the AR mode so you can have them in your living room or on your balcony. That was fun. Because we have lots of house plants, I took photos of some of the Pikmin I'd found and put them with their friends, the house plants. Pikmin.
Is this available on Switch or is it just mobile?
Just mobile.
Okay. So is this like the newest Pikmin game?
I guess, like, okay, so there are 3 Pikmin games, but then there's like 3 Pikmin spin-off games.
Okay.
And it seems like this is the only way they can, like, keep the brand awareness going so that they can make a mainline Pikmin game again. And, like, if this was, and, like, Pikmin was created by Shigeru Miyamoto, who's, like, the head creative in Nintendo. Well, now he's creative fellow. Because they don't want him making games anymore. But, like, he still has a power and influence over the company. And, like, this is just, like, this reeks of just an old man's wish. And
I believe that.
And he's like, oh, like Pokemon Go is a huge success. And then...
What's the name of the lad who makes Knack? Mark Cerny?
Mark Cerny.
This reeks of a Knack sequel.
Yeah. That it's just like an older person in a successful company being like, you can use this IP, and they're like, we'd rather use that, and they're like, you can use this IP. I love this IP. I have personal investment in this. Doesn't matter if it makes money or not. If it makes just enough and I feel satisfied, Pikmin. So I'm happy, but like it's weird looking at how much the game is being interacted with, because you know the way with Pokemon Go, you could see like other trainers out and you could see like dots on the map of like where people had been like grinding and stuff. Not there really in this game. Although I guess we're near the parks, so there's a bit of it, but it has way less activity in it. That's all I got.
But that's maybe what you want, because you're not going to take over a gym anytime soon if you start Pokemon Go now. Maybe you can be the top dog on Pikmin, the cooperative walking game.
Yeah, if I did put in €100, I could get really far.
Now we're talking.
All it's costing me right now is my time.
That's worthless.
Getting exercise for nothing. What am I, an idiot?
I beat Luigi's Mansion 3.
Okay.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. I got this game for my birthday 1 year ago. And on November 3rd, I was like, you know what?
Luigi time.
I'm not letting this one slide through the cracks. Let's fucking beat this thing. I really am very charmed by that game. I think I am much more charmed by it than I am enjoying playing it. I think that control scheme... I think I found myself fighting with it a lot, and I found a lot of like...
You got to reset that gyro.
Yeah, I found there was a lot of like... It's not that I'm trying to figure out what to do. I have a fair idea what to do. I just don't... I'm wrestling with the controls to make it work.
Executing it is hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, to me, it's like you're winging it and you're throwing a slippery ball and it might go through the net. It might not.
Yeah.
You're going to try a bunch of times.
And oh, hey, your plunger, it stuck to the thing. And oh, it was a little bit off, so this time it's not going to... And I found more of that than I would have liked. But I still felt like there was a lot of atmosphere to this game, and I thought there was a lot of character to it. There's one moment at the end that I really, really loved where you finally rescue Mario. Sorry to spoil.
God, he's such a dick at the end.
Sorry to spoil the game, but there's basically this bit where like him and Luigi have to go up to the very top of the hotel, and Mario just runs off, double jumps, wall jump, and is at the top of the hotel. But Luigi, you have to like walk him up and around.
Yeah, because he's got heavy equipment.
I thought that was like this really cute and interesting little like meta nod to the very different ways these two characters navigate like scenery. And like having played so many games as Mario, I really liked that. King Boo is in this game, and King Boo is maybe my favorite Mario villain. I think, like me, he's a stone cold motherfucker. You kind of made a face there, Niamh.
No, I agree.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That was agreement.
I was going to say like King Boo, more like King Poo.
Agreement again.
Bryan, Niamh.
I actually found the King Boo fight hard because you have to hit his mouth, but the visual cue is his teeth. But it was very hard to see in handheld mode, that visual cue.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of little things like that where you can miss a small detail and you can spend a long part of a boss fight with something not clicking. I didn't love a lot of the ghosts. I thought they were like, they're well animated and they have a lot of character, but I just felt like the concepts for a lot of them were kind of crap. Like there's one bit where you go on a pirate ship and you fight a ghost shark with an eye patch, and I thought that was rad, and I would have liked more of that instead of just like, this one's a magician, you know. But overall, I thought it's a fun game. I think it has a lot of atmosphere and a lot of charm. If you're okay with struggling with some like pretty frustrating controls, I think it's worth it. I think it's a good time. Niamh, tell me about Voice of Cards.
Voice of Cards is the Yoko Taro everything is card.
You talked about this a bit last time, didn't you?
Yeah, I played the demo of it, and I had a pretty fun time with the demo, and I said, this is great. What I would really like is if the speed could be sped up a little bit, because it was very slow to navigate the little stopper, like you play as a character marker pin, like on a board game, across the map, and also the turns in the turn-based combat, just so very, very slow. By the end of this game, because I beat Voice of Cards, my save time was 17 hours. I think if I could turn on a speed boost, like even like double that speed, which I think would be a normal game speed, it would be half this time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like, so much of it's slow. Like, that is my biggest gripe with this, is the slowness of it makes some of the other things kind of harder to deal with. So its presentation is definitely the strong part. Like, there's limited card designs, but everything is cards. You go into a town, the entire town is like now rock cards. There is like an item shop. Every item is made with cards. Even if you have an empty slot of armor, that empty slot is represented by a card with a grayed out thing. Like, everything is cards. And that's really cool. They animate them in lovely ways to tell a story. So if a character faints, the card is on its side. If the character does a chop in combat, like, the card flips over and does like a combat move. So it's like they're animating these cards in nice little clever ways to get the most out of that very limited aesthetic. There's about like maybe 20 different illustrations. Like, the NPC cards are reused all the time. There's like one woman card, middle-aged woman, one middle-aged man, one young woman, young man, kind of thing. One boy, one girl, one muscle man.
That's such a limitation. Like, I guess I'm just surprised, because I would have thought that like the idea of having everything on a card would just let them do loads of card art.
It's the one illustrator from what it looks like, so they got him to do like, and like, it is a lot of drawings when you look at, like, when you have all those cards like individually there. You know, there's the queen, there's two types of knight, but it is extremely limited. So you start to re-see the images very quickly, but all the illustrations are lovely. They're very character-full in illustrations, and that paired with like the little bit of animation in it gives it just a strong presentation. The music is done by the Nier composer. And he's kind of, to me, is the Trent Reznor of video game soundtracks, where you can hear his sound instantly.
Oh yeah, you're like, oh, this is that dude.
Yeah, like the opening theme to this sounds like a Nier song. Like, and there is other songs that sound totally different.
Would you say that the music in general is like as strong as Nier?
It's different.
Yeah.
Like, I think Nier's soundtrack is like, there's a lot of emotion connected to those songs. With this, there's less emotion, but there's definitely more interesting stuff, because like, you know, they can have a little bit more fun with it.
It's got the...
Yeah, it's kind of
I'm
got
not trying
like...
to describe it, but yeah, I know what you mean.
It's got some wacky JRPG vibes to this music, so it gets to be a little bit different, or it kind of gets to be a little like, we're on a like world map music, which you don't get a lot in Nier.
Could I ask? Sorry, could I go on a small tangent? Mm-hmm. Have either of you ever played Parasite Eve?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, the first one.
Is it good?
Oh, I've said that so long ago, I could not tell you.
Because it's this fucking thing, and it's like Square Enix making a Resident Evil game with the technology of the old Final Fantasies. And I got to listen to the soundtrack randomly recently, and the music's fucking awesome. It's like really fucking weird sci-fi chilled atmospheric music. Sorry, I just wanted to check.
It's okay. I wish Parasite Eve would come back.
Yeah, what the fuck? You can't buy it anywhere.
It's like one of those games, I'm pretty sure it was a PSP release, like Third Birthday, that was just off the rails bad, and people did not like that.
Third Birthday is so weird. I've watched at least 4 different video essays from 4 different YouTubers on Third Birthday.
Yeah.
It's kind of fascinating. Like, it's a weird game.
Susie is like usually very nice about most games, but with that game she was just like, oh no.
if Sphere is like shitting on a game, that's when it's like, oh
you
fuck,
know it's really
like,
bad.
this is bad.
Yeah. So yeah, the presentation is super strong, if not limited, because it is literally paper cards and everything is cards. The narrator does a lot of the heavy lifting. It's narrated by one guy and he has a really great voice. I've spoken before, like literally about 3 episodes ago, where I was just like, is there ever a good narrator like in games? I don't particularly like the idea of narrators like taking all that character control. But I thought this one was brilliant. And I tried to listen to as much of it as possible, because the game at the start was like, I would really like you to listen to the narrator. And I was like, okay, if this is what they're telling me I'm going to get the best experience out of, I'm going to listen to this guy. And yeah, he's very good. There's a lot of funny moments, like if you idle, he'll sigh and yawn and stuff. And
oh, that's cool.
He'll mispronounce a name here and there and kind of like catch himself. So like it is a very strong performance, and the writing is very, very witty. The localization is good. There's a lot of moments where it made me laugh. These would be the good points about this. The bad points for me would be the combat was never challenging, ever. Like, not at all. From, like...
You didn't have to strategize?
Not once.
Okay.
I didn't even have to use that many. Like, you get items, like, you know, your usual potions, and stuff that will cure poison or shock or paralysis or freeze or any of these to stop debuffs. Like, if I got a debuff on me, the battle would be over before I would ever think about using a potion. Like...
Oh, wow.
It's like I was strong enough to kill everything in about 3 hits, so by the time it got round to my next turn, I wouldn't need to use the potion to heal myself.
And I don't suppose there was ever like a difficulty option or anything?
No, there's no difficulty options. So it's like, it's turn-based, and the combat, because of the movement speed, is super slow, and you have to get through every enemy's attack as well, and that animation is also really, really slow. So the combat isn't even interesting enough to kind of feel good about being there so long. But it's not bad either. It's like simple turn-based. You have 3 characters on the field at any one time, and usually max 3 enemies. It can be 1 enemy, it can be 2, but usually max 3. You get random battles. They are quite frequent, again, which makes the game quite slow. So it's not like it was unenjoyable combat, it was just boring combat, if you get me. Like, I was always hoping for it to ramp up and to get interesting, but it kind of didn't get there until the last 2 chapters, where everything just had more HP. So I didn't really change my tactics. I just spent a longer time fighting because everything's slow.
And in terms of like the mechanics themselves, are we talking your typical, this is a warrior, this is a mage?
Yeah, you have a mage, you have a sword boy who, like your main character Ash, he has a sword, so he's an attack plus 2.5 damage. He has an electric attack, which some moves use random dice rolls, so you'll roll a dice, the game master will roll a dice, and if you get over 4, it will maybe inflict paralysis or like shock or freeze, depending on what you're using. But even with those random rolls, and there's also random cards at times called happenstance cards that will kind of hit you with random debuffs and buffs, even with all those kind of chance elements, it never made the gameplay particularly interesting or challenging. I was never like, oh no, I'm going to get screwed by this card. It was just, you could just brute force it. Like, there wasn't a lot of thinking involved. You just needed to use the highest damage attack.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much it combat wise.
That's disappointing.
The last boss kind of ramped it up a little, but not by much.
Like, was the story itself, did that have anything going on?
No, that's the other the other thing that I was pretty down on it for the first, like, okay, there's 7 chapters in it. For chapter 1 to 5, it is extremely lighthearted, and it is basically you as Ash and your friend Mar, who is a little is a big monster, you hear a decree from the queen that she wants you to kill the dragon because a dragon has appeared and it's causing havoc. So that is it. Boy, kill dragon, you will get riches. And that is your motivation. You leave the town and you meet the mage called Melanie, and she is a tough girl who doesn't like you, and they kind of have a bickering relationship. Because this is all narrated, you don't get a lot of interpersonal conversations. It'll be more like,
right, okay,
yeah,
like this Melanie reacted with a sigh, or she gave you a quick, like, you know, glance. And there wasn't even a lot of that to kind of get across their relationships with each other, but it was clearly true, the tropes of anime. It was clearly like they kind of have something, maybe, because it's the main boy and the main girl. There you go.
They have some sort of emotional relationship, even if it is bickering.
Exactly. It's just like, you know, she really likes him because she hates him. And it's like, okay, thanks, game. You meet another character, Ridis, who is your archer, and she's... I want to call her cool, but it's a cool design, but also like nothing's really going on. She has debt to pay, so she'll join your party, and there's no side quests where these characters there's no side quests in the game. You go from town to town, and first chapter is one town, the second town will be the second chapter, the third town will be the third chapter, and each person, you're looking for a person in the town to push you forward to where you're going to find the final dragon. So everything is a constant push forward. So it's a lot of forward momentum and not a lot of character stuff. For a while, that's kind of fine because the writing that's there, it's quite, like, it's funny and it's charming and it's silly. So it's just like, okay, if this is a lighthearted comedy game, RPG, I'm kind of fine with that. Then in the last 2 chapters, it becomes amnesia anime plot where you have, like, memory headaches is literally the only way I can describe it.
Okay.
Where you remember you're more involved in the plot than you ever thought you are, and you have a little bit more connection.
I'd be really bummed if I got that late into a story and they pulled that shit.
Yeah, and it's just like, if you're going to do this, like, at least be hinting at it. But it's really like...
Yeah, have something in the prologue that tells you that it's going to get darker as it goes.
And it's just like, here, you are the main character now. Like, you definitely knew these people before. You were definitely connected to this plot. You have a headache here because you have you know, it's just like... And, like, not much is going on, so you're just slightly more connected to it. By the end, you get to make a decision on your ending. And all throughout this, the main character of Ash, if I was going to say anything about him, I would call him just like wildly unlikable. He's not a nice character. Like, you get to pick dialogue options sometimes, and it's usually like, will you scam this person? Yes or very yes. You know, and it's just like, okay. And like everything about that, and it's like not even scamming. It's kind of like, will you whine at this person? Yes or very whine, you know?
Right.
So it's kind of like, okay, this character of Ash is kind of a dickhead. And light spoilers for the end of Voice of Cards. You were presented with a choice at the end. And it's basically kind of like, you have to make decisions based on the characters in the game. And I felt there was not enough like work put in to make me care about these characters with its writing. It was super light. They were like, oh, here's a sacrifice. And I was just like, oh no. You know, it didn't have any gravitas to it whatsoever. But by the end, I had managed to collect all 10 of these secret cards. And if you get all the secret cards, you can pick the good ending. And the good ending is literally the character going, I want everything and nothing bad to happen. And I thought, you know, this is a Yoko Taro game. This character has been kind of built up as a little shithead. Maybe picking I want everything and I want my way will get me nothing, you know, and kind of subvert that. Literally, no. You just get everything. And it's just like, and everything was fine and happy. And like, it's not like, it's just that. And it felt like I had worked to get these extra secret cards. And like, I just did everything you could. Like, I wasn't trying to get them, but just through the course of playing, I managed to get them because it's quite easy and there isn't much to do since there isn't side missions. I felt it was a total cop-out. Like, the story was kind of weak enough, and then me not having to make a decision even at the end, even though I thought the decisions were all pretty weak and I didn't really care about them either way.
Sure.
It was just like, what person do you pick? Having my good ending being, well, you got nothing, so during the journey you learned nothing, and that's it. felt really anticlimactic at the end of 17 hours of very slow gameplay.
This sucks. This seemed like a cool game.
Yeah, it seemed like it had way more potential.
I was
kind of
hoping you were going to come to this podcast and be like, guys, there's some fucking stuff in this game. Because I was ready to be like, let's do this.
I really wanted there to be stuff. I thought there would be kind of meta stuff with the cards, but there just wasn't. Other than a few little you walk on water and the narrator goes, you can't walk on water. And it's just okay, it's a game. But there was none of that baked into the story. It was pretty surfacey and not a particularly good, pretty generic story.
I feel like I have room for one more RPG this year. And I really want to try Tales of Arise, but then I'm like, I should give Shin Megami Tensei a go.
Yeah, that's out soon.
That reviewed pretty bad from what... Not bad,
it reviewed well, but the positive aspects are not things I'm sure I give a shit about.
Yeah, I heard it didn't have much story and it was very dungeon-based.
And part of me feels like...
Sounds about
having
right.
an alright time with Shin Megami 3, maybe I'll just... But I don't know. I was going over the games I've beat this year, and I haven't gone back through everything I've played, just the shit I beat, and I was a bit there's been some cool stuff this year, but I really want to find something,
Yeah.
What's the fucking crazy cool thing I missed this year?
Well, when I was playing Voice of Cards, I kept being I'd love if they referenced that this is cards more. I love if this combat was more challenging, and I could get creative. And then, I kept hearing about Inscription, a card game that's, on Steam right now.
Yeah.
And I was just maybe that's what I actually want to play and not Voice of Cards. I'm going to say one more thing about Voice of Cards before I leave it, because this was disappointing to me. There's a character in Bruno in it who's, really muscular and cool and hot. And this is, Voice of Cards, if there's anything going for it, there's a lot of comedy about muscle worship, and it's pretty funny. There's a lot of good illustrations about muscle worship. I've thought of John.
That's
It's got the guy in the cod piece. Is this who we're talking about?
He's called Muscle Man, but there's also a Muscle Woman. But there's also a main character you meet called Bruno, who's extremely muscly, and he's
actually called Bruno.
Yeah, and he's
Fucking
into
brilliant.
nutrition, and his dad is also very muscly. And there's a lot of people who talk about how great muscles are, and there's a bit of a transformation sequence where someone maybe inflates to be more muscly.
You got to hold in your breath when you're putting on a show.
Mm-hmm.
okay.
So there's a lot of muscle stuff, but there was one bit with Bruno which I didn't like. And when you first meet Bruno and he joins your party, it's very clear he's the gay character in it. There is a little bit of kind of just gay panic homophobia about that character in it, which was really disappointing. You play, obviously, as this character, Ash. There is a moment where he is witnessing Bruno and another character, who I can't think of his name right now, but they had a fight to kind of get something for you, but then they form a friendship. And the way the quote reads, it's just I see friendship forming in their eyes or something. I was or at least that's what I hope it is. It's this as long as it's not gay. And I was just that is not how I feel at all. Don't make me role play a homophobe game.
That's fucking weird. His name escapes me, but one of the most pleasant things I've experienced in a while in games is the gay dude from Dragon Quest 11. I think it's because he came along and I was here we go. As far as I remember, the whole game totally cool. Just hey, yep, that's just Silvano. That's his deal. Now he's running a Mardi Gras with a bunch of young boys, and it's cool.
Hell yeah,
it's fine.
It's just that Bruno thing.
Young men, young boys is the wrong word.
Bruno was a bit disappointing. It was one of those moments where it was just this joke just crossed the line where I think it would just go over most people's heads anyway, but I think any LGBT person playing this would be hey, wait a second.
Yeah, no, that sounds a bit fucked. That, unfortunately, that's a lot of Japanese media. Better than it was, but I still have that moment where it was the second episode of Komi-san. It's the whole they introduce kind of I guess a non-binary character, and the whole way through you're come on, just don't fuck it. Okay, everyone likes them. They're really well liked. This is cool. And then right in the last scene, it's okay, they fucked up. All right.
They can never stick the landing.
Yeah.
I think this what was particularly annoying about this one is Oni, our editor, is also a translator, but he translated the original dialogue, and that homophobic kind of little joke wasn't in it.
That's fucked up.
So that's someone's vendetta or some shit that's something weird that someone put in.
Yeah,
maybe
Like, it could be a vendetta.
maybe by
It could genuinely be someone who just doesn't fucking know.
But then it's like this weird ignorance.
Yeah, it's like maybe someone made a bad joke. Maybe someone thought that was what was funny or something. You never know with these things if it's malicious or if it's just like complete, like, you know, you grow up in a homophobic, like, in a world where that kind of humor is accepted.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that's fine. And it's just like, I don't know. I would rethink that one personally.
Just ask someone, what do you think of this line?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's probably what it was.
That's disappointing.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel bad being like, yeah, Voice of Cards, people should play it. And now I'm like, they are bringing out a speed boost for it though. Which,
I saw that. That's
which
cool.
will help a lot with it.
Bryan,
Mm-hmm.
you played Mario Party Superstars.
Yes, I just want to talk about this game quickly because I only got it like yesterday. Mario Party Superstars is the new Mario Party game, not to be confused with the 2018 game Super Mario Party.
Oh, okay. I'm glad we cleared that up.
This is Mario Party Superstars, a completely different game.
Totally different concept.
I enjoyed Super Mario Party, but I found it had too much going on with not enough going on in where it counted. It had a lot of characters, but the boards and the mini games weren't very good. Especially
I found
the
them
boards.
so hard to navigate.
Yeah. Okay, so the new one, Superstars, is a compilation game. It is a repackaged remake of the best of N64 and GameCube board games and mini games. And as someone who grew up playing Mario Party, this is exactly what I want. And I'm having a great time. There's only 8 characters. They've simplified all of that stuff. With Mario Party games, usually the UI and navigation on these games is fucking terrible. This one is okay. Because you usually have to navigate through awkward text that doesn't match. And you have to go into these imaginary rooms where you're like, okay, so that's where the mini games are. In the previous Mario Party game, you had to physically move characters to locations to navigate the menu. This one, it's just an overworld hub, and for the most part, it tells you what's going on. And it does the smart UI that you have in like Breath of the Wild and in Mario Odyssey, where it kind of looks like web design, like just very simple text on a card with a little bit of a like flourish on the like bullet points and stuff like that. So I do appreciate that. It has online. I'm going to try the online before I really give my formed opinion, because like there's
something that feels so fucked up to me about online Mario Party.
Yeah, and like the game uses stickers, so it's kind of like the lobby in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe where you can like leave a comment where it's just these like pre-typed messages, but all the stickers are just emotes from who you're playing as. But it's really, really nice 2D art. But yeah, so far it's just a really, really nicely presented nostalgia trip, which is kind of what I want.
Cool. Good to hear it.
Yeah.
Guys, so I had a little trip to a hotel last week. It's part of my birthday. And I wanted a little Switch game to play, so I decided to pick back up Hollow Knight. And I think between then and now, I've played about 23 hours of Hollow Knight.
Sounds about right. I did check your online. It kept going up in 5-hour increments.
I fell down Hollow Knight hard. Like it has been a while since a game sucked me into this degree. This is also kind of, you know, a part of I've been playing a lot of corner scratchers lately. Really gotten the itch.
Exploration. Go on.
I didn't understand what fucking thing you just said. So this is remember, you know, this is like the
Niamh's being mean to me. I don't like this. Stop smiling, John. You're ruining my life.
I'm trying to talk about my corner scratcher.
You're ruining the podcast, and I'm going to piss my pants. I'm not happy.
Yeah, I always ruin the podcast. What do I do?
Scratch your corner.
Okay, so I think Hollow Knight's an interesting one because, like, I think it is one of those games that you hear a lot from people that it is like their favorite game of the previous generation. And after beating it, I could say it's not my favorite game of the previous generation, but I totally see where that's coming from. And, like, it is interesting because, like, it's also a game that you occasionally meet people who are just not into it at all, even people who like corner scratchers.
Stop it.
It's a really, really good indie game, and it doesn't feel like a Kickstarter game or anything.
No, not at all.
It's so well refined.
But I think the reason people don't like it is like there's a few things about it that will just click with you or not. Like Bryan, I don't think we talked about it on the podcast, but you were saying to me you hate how the nail feels.
I never liked his base attack.
Yeah.
And that's like the crux of the game.
Yeah, you're going to do that thousands of times. I like how the nail feels. I think it feels really whippy and weird, and there's like a good impact to it. But if that doesn't click with you, it's never going to.
Yeah, because like the way because it feels like you're chipping at enemies.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just never felt. But I loved all the add-ons around it. I just never liked the base weapon.
Yeah. Then like the world is a weird one because like there are a bunch of really cool areas. But I felt like the vast majority of areas, it's a dark cave with a different color. Mm-hmm. And there's some fucking awesome places. There's a place called the Deep Nest. And it was cool because like the whole game, all Hollow Knight is about bugs. And I was like, oh, there's going to be spiders somewhere here, isn't there? And I'm not a big fan of spiders. I can't really deal with them. And I was like, where are the spiders? Where are the spiders? And then I got to Deep Nest. And that's where those fucking spiders are. And horrifying place. Really, really cool. And like a lot of really great environmental effects. And I really liked the environment and atmosphere pretty much everywhere. But if you're not into that core dark aesthetic, there's very little for you here in terms of environments. And I think it's interesting because the trailer for Silk Song, there's, I'd say, more varied looking environments.
Yeah, there is.
And I really started to get into the gameplay because, like, Hollow Knight's hard. And it's hard in the way that I really like games to be, in that it really, you're forced to engage with all its mechanics. I was hitting a point where I was tracking down the three dreamers who are, like, the three big bosses of the game. And I got to I was on, like, what to me was the final dreamer. I don't know if you can approach them in any order or whatever. But the boss fight to them was, you basically have to fight, like, I don't know, 6 or 7 of these reanimated husks. Do you know the one I'm talking about, Bryan?
I know the one.
And I found that so hard.
They're all like cicada shells.
Yeah,
more or less.
And they do these Sonic the Hedgehog rolls, and they're so difficult. And they kicked my ass over and over to the point that I was like, I can't beat these right now. So I basically had to go on an odyssey around the map trying to find all the hidden items and like all the new pins and all the techniques. And it was really satisfying to like, okay, cool, I found like a health upgrade here. I found a magic upgrade here. And like it gave me an experience I didn't get with Dread, because I just found that the bosses in Dread hit so hard. It doesn't really matter how much health you have, because they're just going to drain all. Like, it's more about learning their pattern and not getting hit by them than having the stats.
Yep.
Whereas I felt like Hollow Knight was nearly a much better balanced system where there was much more of a struggle, and like you needed those health upgrades. And that was, I had such a good time with that. It was just, I'm going to remember that, like, my weird like journey to all the weird dark corners of Hollow Nest of Hollow Knight for a really long time, and I loved it. So then, like, I went back and I beat all them after, a multi-hour journey, and that was so satisfying. And this was the final dreamer, and so I was able to go fight the last boss of Hollow Knight. And this was about 3 hours ago, and I was like, okay, I'll give the final boss of Hollow Knight a shot before I head over to Bryan and Niamh. And I was excited because I was like, this thing's going to kick my ass, and then I'm going to have to go on another big journey all over Hollow Knight. Maybe I'll check out some of the DLC, maybe I'll do this and that. Beat him in one shot, and I was so fucking disappointed.
This is definitely the boss where you're in a white void and he's shooting lightning at you.
Maybe not. No. This was the Hollow Knight.
Oh, John.
I know there's extra bosses on top of this. Like, I know this isn't the final boss, but credits did roll.
Oh, yeah, no, they do.
So, like, of course there's more bosses, but for a credit roll boss, I wanted more.
John, that true boss is fucked up.
Okay. Because I think I'm probably going to move on now.
What? But the true boss is fucked up.
I have a psychological thing in my head that when I hit credits, I'm going to move on to something else.
That's worrying game design if, like, you're going to put credits up and then, like, someone's like, that boss just wasn't
This
good.
Is, in fairness, this is a me thing.
Yeah.
I have shit to play for Game of the Year, and I want to play more new games.
It's true.
If I was not in this position, I'd probably just keep going. So like it's not really a criticism on Hollow Knight. It's just the reason I'm done with it for now. I think I'm gonna go because like I really did enjoy this game. Like I have a real soft spot for Hollow Knight. I'm probably going to buy a Hollow Knight art print at some point.
It's a really cute design.
It's beautiful. And like some of the music is just. It's so gorgeously understated, and there's this one section, it's called the King's Station, and it's just like this old, empty little bug train station, and there's rain, and it's like pittering on the glass, and the music's really atmospheric and soft, and it's just... There's like an atmosphere to this game I really love.
I love the voice acting that it's just like hums and haws and grunts. Yeah. So when you fast travel, there's a big giant beetle, and he goes... but then there's the guy doing the maps and he's like
and like there's all these little touches, like the guy doing the maps is married to the bug in the shop up ahead, and when you get all the maps from the map maker, like at the end of the game, you go back up to the shop and he's just up there sleeping in his bunk bed because he's tired from everything. There's another bit where you encounter this like legendary warrior and he's just this shit little bug, and that guy's great. He talks himself up so much about like how he's the biggest killer in the world, and then you find an arena and you fight to the end of the like you find this like big combat arena and you find like a coliseum kind of thing and you fight to the end of that and he's the last boss of it, and you just whip him and he just goes flying and bounces off the wall and you whip him back and you just do that a couple of times and he's dead. And so many just little cute touches to that game, and I loved it. I think Hollow Knight's fucking awesome. Like, it would probably be one tier below, like, my favorite games of last generation, but it is, like, if you haven't played it and anything I'm saying here sounds appealing, you should totally give it a shot, because it's also, like I think it's, like, 20 quid.
Yeah, and the game's at least 40 hours long. It's fucking huge. Like, that map is so big.
I think my end save was 33, but I also have a lot more to go, I think.
Whatever way it comes on the Switch, it comes with the DLC all, like, packed in.
Okay, yeah. But I'm definitely going to revisit it at some point, and I would keep going with it if I didn't have like other shit I wanted to check out. But this was a really fun little... It was such a satisfying game to work through, and it is frustrating and you will get lost, but I actually think like that really is part of it, and I don't feel that way about many games at all. Niamh.
Yes.
You've been playing No More Heroes 3.
I have. I like the start of that game a lot. I like that it's a little side-scroller that you...
That is
play.
some opening.
Yeah.
It's really fun. I was like, what the hell is this for a while?
I don't know.
What is going on?
I love that it's on fake YouTube.
Yeah. And they're like, yeah, that's like, I really love the presentation when you start off. You get like a little side scroller, you get like pixel art, you have the fake YouTube, you have just totally different types of 3D sculpting and rendering in it.
Turns into like a stream for a little bit with a live feed.
Yeah, he is. He's streaming to like 10 people.
There's like 2D animation in it. I really like the character setup of Fu, which is basically like, what if Digimon, but like Agumon went away, had his emotional goodbye, but came back and was just an asshole. Mm-hmm. Was just terrible.
Just the worst person.
Really, really mean ET.
Yeah, it's like, what if like your Digimon sucked like super hard.
I just love the way he's like, hey bro, Damon, I love you.
I love how they all look like Sofubi and they're in the packaging, but one of them is just a human girl.
It's like, it's really weird because a lot of the stuff I like about this so far is aesthetic driven. Like it is like, it's doing a lot, like even the save menu, the save screen has that like RGB like rotating colors, like it has like big like text splashed across the side. To save, you have a animation of Travis going to the toilet and pulling down his pants with the save screen slided over.
For 4 games now.
It's very important.
Like it's very,
when you kill people
vibes.
It just says kill.
Yeah, and I love the like guitar riff it plays when you do that. It's really cool. When you go into a combat arena, you will get sucked up and it'll play like a little X-Files remix of that jingle.
Yeah.
There's a real like reverence for like pop art and like just cool late 90s, weird early 2000s visual design. And that stuff is really cool. Like when you go into the options to like deal with sound or like video or any of that. It's like going into options on like a monitor. Like it's just all the design looks like something. And I was having a lot of fun with that. But then I noticed as well with the writing that reverence for that kind of aesthetic, it goes very heavily into reference. And some of that I've been like, haha, yes.
They really like Takeshi Miike.
Yeah, and like some of it's fun, but then a lot of the other stuff I'm kind of like, okay. Like for example, your bike in it that you traverse the open world is the bike from Akira, but the bike from Akira is fucking huge, and those streets are really narrow, and it's really hard to navigate those streets.
It's kind of miserable
on that huge bike. And it's like if he had a slightly smaller, not Akira bike.
And there's sections later on where there's ramps, and you're not sure what is a drivable ramp and what is an invisible wall that you realize, I have to do a U-turn and go all the way around.
Like, you know, I'm obviously a big fan of this game. I am very open to the fact that parts of this game are barely fucking held together.
And the popping on everything in the game is so badly optimized.
There's some environments later on, and it's like riding through a geomosh.
And like I kind of nearly appreciate that aspect of it, because like the enemy design of this as well, it's like really low poly. They look like fashion illustrations where they are made from mostly legs, you know. And like
it's just a triangle with longer triangles.
Yeah. There's something extremely campy about it that like is pulling me in aesthetically, but then I'm also being like kept a little at arm's length at the like nostalgia stuff as well. I'm like, okay. And I don't know where that line gets crossed for me, because I love the visuals of it, but sometimes when they say the things, I'm just like, shut up.
I think, like, for me, there's just stuff in it that is so weirdly specifically me. Like, you know, there's so much wrestling talk.
Oh, I'm sure.
You know, like you go down to Shinobu, and he'll talk about like Misawa versus Kawada from 1994, and I've never spoken to anyone about that match. You know, I've never met anyone who knows why that's cool, and it was in the game.
That's cool. Like when I'm playing this, I'm like, someone loves this, and this is someone's dream project where they are putting in every single thing they think is the coolest in the world, and a lot, and that sometimes lines up for me a lot. Like I like a lot of this, what it's doing, and other parts of it, I'm like, I don't think I'm here for this one.
Sure.
The combat, I like that it makes me use every button on the Switch.
Sure does.
It really does. And like, that's kind of fun. But also those bosses are just like those characters. Their health bars are so huge. The point that it gets kind of tedious. There's a point in those battles where it crosses over to, I'm a little bored now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just I feel like their health bars are just too long. That's just literally it. If they were a little shorter, if the battles were just a little quicker.
I think I played it on hard, and like, they, like, if that's I think that's fair. Like, if that's a criticism, and the fact that there's a hard mode doesn't excuse it. Just I didn't notice it because those bosses are hitting so hard on hard that you are dying in a couple of hits, and that kind of alleviated the problem, because I was like, if I lull here, I'm dead.
Okay. Well, on the standard difficulty, I kind of found them a little tedious.
I could see that.
Just long in the tooth.
Yeah, especially in the last third. I got that too. There's some bosses later on where it breaks the formula, where you think all the boss battles are going to be like that. It's okay.
Oh, they do some wild shit later on.
And I'm looking forward to, like, it's one of those things where, you know, in Bleach, they give you there is 10 captains. And you're like, wow, I can't wait to see every captain. Or it's like, you know, in a game, there's this many bosses. And you're like, cool, what will they be like? And that's exciting. Like, it reminds me of Killer 7, like, even like, who will I see next? And you know that they're going to be weird.
And the way they start to subvert and mess with it, it's so fun.
Fuck the fans.
Fuck the fans.
That's another thing. I'm coming in knowing nothing about this. So I bet there is a lot of, like, maybe interpersonal relationships that people would find more interesting. Like, you know, Charlotte's dad gets killed in this, and I know him from the artwork from the last game.
Yeah.
And I was just like, well, this holds no meaning to me other than I can presume they were friends, and that's sad, I guess.
It sucks. Like I think I talked about this a little bit, but like Charlotte, bad girl, she was very disappointing to me in this game because she's just Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
And if you like, I would encourage you, if you think there's anything cool about that character, go back and watch the original cutscene with her, because like the whole thing with her is she is so fucking weird and broken and dead inside and addicted to killing, and her original cutscene pulls it off in a really, like, I feel like I say that and it sounds shit, but it pulls it off in a really cool way, and it's like she's an alcoholic and all this kind of stuff, and all that was gone for tee-hee, zany baseball bat girl, and that sucked.
That sucks, because that's like the one thing I've had so far with the writing where I'm not like, apart from some of the references not hitting, was I don't think the women are written particularly well.
I don't think that's gonna...
I don't think that'll particularly change, but I'm kind of aware. I know what I'm getting into here, so I was kind of like, once I saw the two girls, I was just like, okay.
I just didn't like what they did to Henry. Where's his accent?
Yeah, where's his accent?
Travis
Is
says
this
that,
Irish Henry?
Yeah, and he's Irish in the first 2 games. And then in No More Heroes 3.
Why would you take that from us?
Yeah. He's like one of the one good Irish video game characters.
Back to Nina Williams and that racist lad from Punch-Out.
But like, I'm enjoying it. Like, I will stick with this because I think what's cool about it is there's nothing that really looks like it, you know?
I promise that we'll never let up.
Okay, good.
And like, even right at the end of that game...
That bit where they're all walking.
Right at the end of that game, it is still presenting cutscenes to you in new visual languages that you have not seen before. And it's just like, why are you doing this? I have a feeling that you're going to get towards the end of that game and you'll be like, clearly I'm missing things about other No More Heroes here. And I'm going to say a good 80% of the time you're not.
Okay.
I think
no, like we are missing gaps.
Okay.
It's okay.
So it's just pretty weird. It's going to be weird anyway.
It's going to be
I'm not
weird.
really missing context.
You know,
yeah.
I'm maybe if I replayed this game, I would kind of be like, oh, there's actually some very subtle thematic stuff. I'm not convinced there is, but I had a blast with that game.
The open world seems a little unnecessary. I don't know if it was if it's going to be good.
It's
in
back.
No More Heroes...
It's back. It's back because the 2 previous games didn't have one.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so in No More Heroes 1, there was an open world. I defended the open world for a long time. Went back and played it this year. Nah.
Okay.
That's not good.
No, I was being silly.
It's a waste of time.
It's a bit of a waste of time. They took it out for No More Heroes 2 and Travis Strikes Again.
It's just a menu.
And it's back, baby. It's back this time. But you know what? It's weird. If you explore that open world, there are little pockets where like a strange amount of effort has gone into. Have either of you played the alligator game?
Yep.
No.
Alligator
There's a
wrestling.
mini game where you just wrestle alligators and it's animated really well.
Okay.
I also enjoyed collecting all the scorpions.
Yeah, I collected a lot of scorpions. There's a lot of weird like hidden visual novel sections.
Those bits are great.
I love them. Yeah, they're the visual novel sections in Travis Strikes Again are better. They're fucking brilliant. But
cool.
Niamh, this is I feel like the best case scenario I could have hoped for with you in No More Heroes 3. I'm glad you're getting something out of it.
Yeah, I liked going around this like weird Sims 2 open world and seeing that every character seems to be like kind of a campy conductor of some train.
Every single one of them.
Yep. Cut off sleeves, a little hat, suspenders.
What was the last boss you fought?
I'm pretty early on. I just finished Golden Joe, so I'm only like 2 of the guys in.
I liked Golden Joe. Thought he was a weird C-3PO.
Mm-hmm.
Is he the guy with the magnets?
Yeah.
Okay. Game's gonna start throwing you some curveball soon.
Okay. Cool. I'm looking forward to it. It's been interesting. It's been fun, and like that's worth a lot, I think.
Enjoy fighting Lady Gaga.
I will.
And I'm not talking about Velvet Chair Girl.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Oh my fucking god. Bryan?
Yeah, I just want to talk about Nintendo Switch Online plus expansion pack very briefly as well.
Okay.
It's fine.
Quicktime Events. Overwatch 2 and Diablo 4 delayed until 2023 alongside the Yu Yu Hakusho anime, or live action.
This is nuts. I feel like they announced
They announced this like 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
I feel like the hype cycle started up for Overwatch 2 and then died immediately.
Yeah.
And they used the announcement to kind of like distract from the Blitzchung stuff at the time. But I remember at the time they were saying like, it'll still play alongside on like the older consoles, and they'll kind of had this kind of mixed thing where some modes across Overwatch 1 would work in 2, but like,
sure,
why would that be a thing if it's going to be pushed into like 2003?
When they said that, I was really like, as someone who only very casually enjoys Overwatch, why would I give a shit about this?
Yeah, it was a weird one. I think they wanted to placate everyone in that announcement, but yeah, not happening. In other Blizzard news, the co-lead Jen Oneal stepped down after 3 months after taking the role.
Her exit letter was one of the most groomed PR things I have ever, like, to the point of near parody.
I thought it said a lot despite saying very little.
Yeah.
Can I read it to you
it.
guys? I am doing this not because I'm without hope for Blizzard. Quite the opposite. I'm inspired by the passion of everyone here working towards meaningful, lasting change with their whole hearts. This energy has inspired me to step out and explore how I can do more to have games and diversity intersect, and hopefully make a broader industry impact that will benefit Blizzard and other studios as well. That read to me as someone who came in, and she came in 3 months ago with Mike Ybarra as co-leads after the last lead had to step down because of the sexual harassment lawsuit brought against Blizzard by the state of California. And that to me reads that someone who just was like, I am stonewalled everywhere. I cannot do anything to change this, even if there's people here to want to change this. So I will leave. So, because that first line, it's not what I'm without hope.
Read
it's
between
like,
those lines.
Yeah. Like, this is like, when you think you can fix something and you might stay at a company for like 6 months to a year until that like hope gets run down.
I also think like the idea that a company is undergoing a major investigation for sexual harassment and that the lead of it was so inspired by that's not it.
I respect this company at a systematic level. That's why I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah, Blizzard is in such a weird place.
Holy shit, like
it must be things must be dire.
I'd love to look at a timeline and be able to pinpoint like what was the last year that Blizzard was still like golden.
2017.
2017.
Maybe
18.
That's
when we gave him Game of the Year.
Yeah, literally, maybe 2018.
I think it's 2016 was when Overwatch came out, but they were still supporting Overwatch for about 2 years. Mm-hmm. I think Overwatch did super well in 2017.
Oh, that initial Overwatch crest. Whew. Yeah. It's been so weird because there's been so many like gradual, like just little pieces falling away from Blizzard. Like you remember the Diablo mobile reveal at BlizzCon where that guy stood up and was like, "Is this a joke?" Like there's just been so many little instances of that stuff. But yeah, wild. What an age we live in. A Better Ubisoft group issues a second opinion letter to Ubisoft.
So this is
open letter, sorry.
An open letter. Like this group, A Better Ubisoft, is made up of 1,000 current and former Ubisoft employees, and they signed a letter in July 28 in solidarity with Activision Blizzard walkout, and they had demands for their own management to make Ubisoft a better place. And basically it's been 100 days since they've issued this open letter and no changes were made, and they're issuing a second open letter. And it's just really disappointing that you have all like your staff being like, hey, make it better to work here, and just it being consistently ignored. And it's just like, 100 days and nothing has happened.
Yeah, it's super disappointing. Ubisoft are weird. Like it's nearly difficult sometimes because like I have never liked Ubisoft like on any level, just on a creative level. I didn't know about any of the other shit going on, obviously, but it's like they have just become like the poster for faceless corporate companies who just don't care because they can just roll along and they will keep making money, and it fucking sucks. And I really hope something changes because they employ a lot of people, and the idea that those people, do not feel safe or good in their work environment, it's really shitty. Nintendo Switch software sales stats.
Okay, I got them here. This is from the 30th of September of this year. The Switch has sold almost 93 million units.
Whoa.
That's in 4.5 years. God. Okay, so I've got the top 10 best-selling Switch games.
Okay, Mario Kart 8.
Yep. Mario Kart 8 is at almost 39 million units.
That's crazy.
What's so fucked up about that isn't that's more than Mario Kart and the Wii, isn't it?
Yeah, and Mario Kart 8 is a port of a Wii U game. It's not even like a Switch game. It came out in 2014.
Why would they ever make another one if this is fine?
This is kind of why there's no Mario Kart 9
Yeah.
and why Mario Kart on mobile gets so much like updates to it, because like they don't need to R&D a new game because Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, everyone owns, like we all own it.
Do you own it, Niamh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Second best-selling game.
I own it. I don't remember buying it.
Exactly.
You know, that kind of way.
It just shows up. Second best-selling game is Animal Crossing New Horizons, which is about 1.5 years old.
Are you guys surprised by the success of that game?
No, it came out in
Lockdown.
the height of lockdown. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's at 35 million units, almost 35 million units.
I would be if not for lockdown. Like lockdown makes it make sense, but I think if before the pandemic was a thing, you had asked me like, how well is new Animal Crossing gonna do? I'd be like, yeah, pretty well.
Okay, so without the unit numbers, I'm just gonna go. Okay, Smash Brothers Ultimate, Breath of the Wild, Pokemon Sword and Shield. So that's your top 5. And then we have the 6 through 10 are Super Mario Odyssey, Super Mario Party, which I was surprised by, Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee,
Huh.
Okay.
Splatoon 2, and then in at number 10, Ring Fit Adventure.
Hell yeah!
That's nuts. But wait, like Fire Emblem didn't even scratch their
That's
top
crazy.
10.
I think Fire Emblem's still too niche. I think Ring Fit, like...
I think Ring Fit is another one. Pandemic doesn't happen.
Yeah.
It's not on that list.
Yeah. But yeah, I think...
I'm still playing Ring Fit.
Especially...
Level 30, baby.
Especially the year after it came out, it did super well.
Yeah.
Because Ring Fit came out 2019, but 2020 was its year.
I think one of the biggest surprises, and this is probably an outdated mentality, the idea that Smash Bros is selling more than Zelda is shocking to me.
Yeah. And like Zelda was the launch title as well with the
Yeah.
Switch. There you go.
Yeah. I love the Switch, and I had, like, when I was playing Hollow Knight in my hotel room this last week, I was like, yeah, this rules.
Also, all the games we talked about in Strategy Talk were all Switch games.
Oh my god.
I don't think that's happened in a while.
Yeah.
But then they also released
But
some
what's on the PS5?
They also released some stats recently as well about like the amount of indie sales on Switch, and like it's a lot.
I'd say so.
Yeah, like indie developers do really well on Switch. That's cool. Crystal Dynamics Perfect Dark reboot.
So Crystal Dynamics are being brought on board to help with the Perfect Dark reboot. I just wanted to mention this because I like Perfect Dark. I played Perfect Dark Zero for the 360.
That was one of the launch games on the 360
Yeah.
as well.
I think you're the only person I know who's played that.
Yeah.
Is it good?
It's a woman.
It's got Joanna Dark. She's a cool lady.
Like
But they gave her long hair in that one. I don't
Perfect
know how I
Dark
feel
is
about
like
that.
like that's why I think it's like a great fit for Crystal Dynamics, because Joanna Dark has so much crossover with like Lara Croft Tomb Raider. Like the original Perfect Dark was made for the Nintendo 64, and it was going to be, I think it was like them testing out a GoldenEye 2, like a sequel to GoldenEye.
Oh, it was. They had lost
Yeah.
the rights to
Yeah.
GoldenEye.
They lost the rights, but they wanted to make another first-person
like
shooter.
it was the same engine and everything.
Yeah, so like it has like this Bond DNA, the way that Lara Croft has the Bond DNA, simply because she is British and fancy.
She grew up in a manor.
But like Perfect Dark gets bananas because it's also very inspired by like the X-Files, so there's aliens in it as well.
Elvis
So-
the alien.
Elvis.
So I would
God, that
like
was
to
a weird
play
game.
the reboot of Perfect Dark. I think it would be interesting to have Joanna Dark back in people's
Yeah,
lives.
I'd actually be kind of curious, like, what is a 2021 Joanna Dark? I think games have rooms for a weird female spy.
And I think like it's really fun to be 3 games into a series where there's only one mainline game, because like Perfect Dark is like Perfect Dark, but Perfect Dark Zero is a prequel to it, and now like we're getting a remaster of the first game, so I feel like we're going back narratively.
Oh, also,
We're just stuck in...
I saw that their new James Bond.
Oh, good.
I liked it. I thought, like,
You saved the day.
best review I could give it. It's nearly 3 hours long. I wasn't bored.
No, you do not feel those 3 hours.
No.
I look forward to watching that on a Saturday morning in my pajamas someday.
I like it. There's multiple cool women in it.
There
I
is.
like the Daniel Craig Bond movies quite a lot.
I think Daniel Craig
He's my best Bond.
It's a steaming hunk of man right there.
I like Timothy Dalton.
Who?
He was James Bond for 2 movies at the end of the 80s.
Do you ever think Bryan just like makes up shit?
Yeah.
And he knows that you're not going to check it, so...
Have you not seen The
Sure,
Living
Bryan.
Daylights?
That's not a Bond movie,
Oh,
Bryan.
it is, yeah.
It's only Sean Connery
Sean Connery.
Do not dismiss Roger
Pierce
Moore.
Brosnan.
Roger Moore was the funniest one.
and Daniel Craig. They're just 3 Bonds.
I'll talk shit about George.
There's like 9 Bond movies, Bryan.
Have you ever seen that weird Sean Connery James Bond movie that isn't part of Eon Pictures called
No.
Never Say Never Again? And it was made in the late 80s and he plays a video game in it.
That's fucked up. James Bond would never play a video game.
It's a real film.
Wow. Steam Deck delayed.
Yeah.
More like Steam Dick delayed.
I was disappointed about
Whoa, Sean! Gabe is going to be so sad.
I really want to play like stuff like Inscription, but
I think
like
I'm
I
just
was
gonna
like,
collapse and play that because it sounds cool.
I keep hoping it'll come to Switch.
Niamh, there's a AMV AMV game, a full like FMV game on Switch right now, and I think it's about a bunch of influencers getting dropped in a forest and having to kill each other.
Okay, we should play that.
It's got a name like Death Star or something.
Good. But yeah, Steam Deck delayed until February. It's going to be 2-month delay. So if
Sounds
you
about
got
right.
a December release, you're going to be getting it in February, and if you're February, it's another 2 months out, which was where I was. And also the Analogue Pocket was delayed as well, Bryan.
It was.
Until December.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No more news?
No more news.
No more news.
Does that mean it's time for emails?
Do you know what? This time, I'm not even going to drop the email address.
I think you haven't learned it by now. You don't deserve to send emails in.
Yeah, there's no way to find it out. You can't read the episode description or anything like that.
Yeah.
You're never going to know the email address.
And to be honest, we probably have enough emails to do us for multiple decades. So that's it, everyone. You missed the cutoff.
Do you guys want to take a questions one? Bunch of questions?
Hell yeah.
Okay, this one is from Chris. Goma Goma no Gatling gun rapid fire questions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're called Brawn, Nerve, and Jorm.
Nice.
I'm always happy when our names are spelt.
Yeah. I like it when you see one you've never seen before.
Yeah. Okay. What is I'm sorry, and this is from Chris. Okay. What is a real life ability you always wish you had? Example, photographic memory or being ambidextrous. So this can't be flying, obviously. It's got to be like a...
I would like to have any capacity to learn music.
Oh, that'd be good. Yeah.
I would love to be able to play an instrument.
I remember
Be good at it. Or sing.
When I saw the woman with the girl with the dragon tattoo, and I thought the way she had a photographic memory was so fucking cool. And so for like a week or two afterwards, I'd go around and someone would be like, "Here's that phone number," and they'd be like, and I'm like, "It's okay, I got it." I didn't got it. I didn't even kind of got it.
I'm terrible at learning languages. I just want to be able to be fluent.
Yeah, I'd love to learn
It's
languages.
crazy when you see people work at the UN or whatever, and they'll know like 10 different languages, and they can just switch between them, and they can dream in other languages. Anything like that would be so cool.
I think people with like a strong degree of natural artistic talents who can just draw shit. Like, do you ever meet one of those people who's like not practiced in drawing or anything, but they can just pick up a pencil and just copy whatever's in front of them? That is genuinely like a superpower to me, because like I draw a lot, but I do not have that, and I never will. And that makes
that
me sad.
natural talent.
Yeah, I think really like I have so much admiration for that ability, and I wish I had it.
Okay,
But you see, Niamh, you have it, so it's not a big deal to you.
Yeah,
That's like the way you think the amount I know about wrestling is really fucking amazing, you know?
I guess so, but
You don't think that, Niamh.
You're a very good drafts person.
Like your passion for wrestling is enviable. But I do think that the downside of being an art person is maybe that it's kind of a solo activity. Like, yeah, I can do a really great still life, but like with music or something, that's like a more, you can,
it's collab.
You can do that together, where like I guess you can draw still lifes in a room with other people, but it's not really a collaborative. You can make art collaborative, but the act of drawing sometimes is
I guess
very...
so, but I would choose drawing 100 out of 100 times as opposed to playing an instrument.
Really?
Oh yeah, I don't give a shit.
John's biggest fear is being the dickhead with the guitar. Like that is John's like natural opposite.
It's okay. It's not my biggest fear. If I could inherit the ability to play guitar, I'd be like, yeah, sure. But yeah, I have never liked that fucking dude who like, you know, at the work party takes out his fucking acoustic guitar. Hey guys, everyone just wants to quiet down for a minute. Oh, just gonna belt out a bit of Wonderwall. Here we go. Today is gonna be a day. And then like you all have to fucking sit there like a bunch of assholes. And then you know the worst fucking part, when the song is finally over. Oh yeah, Derek, though. Yes, he's very good, isn't he? No, no, but we're all gonna fucking act like he is.
I feel like now at a party, people would just tell that person to stop. I think we were all too polite before.
I think maybe me and you would. Maybe you, Bryan.
Just stop.
I don't think anyone else would. I think everyone we know is just tuned. Okay, perfect example. We went out Saturday. That fucking asshole who kept shouting.
Oh, cocaine dude.
Oh, no one told him to shut up. And why would you? Because he has nothing to lose.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Natural musical ability. Next question, Bryan.
Okay. What is a series or TV, video games, books, what you think you really enjoyed as a kid, but are too old to get the most out of them now?
Oh, like everything. The Wheel of Time.
Wallace and Gromit. It's never going to be the same.
No, Wallace and Gromit's still good, Bryan.
Real artistry left.
The first time you see Wallace and Gromit, though, it's never going to be the same.
No, that penguin holds up.
Oh, he does.
I don't
he
know.
does.
I don't know. I think I might actually agree with Bryan.
But the first time I saw Wallace and Gromit, I shat myself.
Like I remember,
that's real.
Someone put it on in school at like just before Christmas break, you know, that kind of way, and I was fucking transfixed. I was like, holy shit, look at it, you know.
It's so good.
I think there is like like long video games, media that I only think is all right. Like I think I've watched like 150 episodes of Fairy Tail. It's fine. I don't know that I'm ever gonna like watch anything like that again, and that makes me kind of sad. You know, I'd like to just watch stuff that doesn't challenge me at all.
This happened to me with YouTube channels that I'll be subscribed to for nearly a decade now, and I'll kind of gloss over their videos instead of clicking into them. It's not because, you know, they're bad or anything. It's just because I'm not as interested or enthusiastic. I wouldn't want to name names, but you know how you have YouTube channels.
It's okay. Super Patch Wolf, it's fine.
You don't follow them as much as you used to.
Yeah, but like I think sometimes as well, like, and this is a total separate thing with YouTubers. I think sometimes like you can tell when like the light goes out of a YouTuber's eyes, and they're kind of just doing this because this is what they do now.
But sometimes they get a second wind.
That is fun.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
I like it when someone's like it's a YouTuber you haven't watched in a while, and they're like, "Did you see this fucking person's newest video? It's really killing it." It's like, oh shit, okay. I hope that happens to me someday. Long media for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, don't have the time for it. Walk us through the moments when you first met each other. Details, please. As long as you don't mind. Okay, I'm not going to give too many details. John and I and another person spoke about Paper Mario and a 1,000-Year Door. We all agreed it was great. The other person left. John and I remained. Niamh filled in the gap a year later.
I'm not sure that's
what
very
the
accurate.
hell?
That's how it worked.
I think we were out of college before we became friends with Niamh, really, right?
I first met Niamh in September 2007. We were at our college pub, which is now being turned into accommodation.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're knocking it down.
That's fucked up, not
Bakers.
Bakers.
Yeah,
nuts.
no, they're knocking it down. It's going to be student accommodation, but it's still going to cost a fucking fortune.
Yeah, but where will the students drink?
Don't you worry about them.
Yeah, they'll...
I used to drink at the graveyard a bunch.
Oh, yeah.
I remember Niamh was drinking wine, and I was like, you can't drink wine. But I thought that was really cool.
My first memory of Bryan was him being like really annoying.
That sounds about right.
In college, that was most people's first memory of Bryan.
Yeah.
I was very nice.
I think
You know what,
he
Bryan?
came in. Bryan was in the year ahead of us, and I think he came into our class to give us like a talk with the teacher. So the teacher kind of
God, I
like
hated when they
wheeled
did
him
that.
in, and was just like, "Here's like Bryan, and he's the best and biggest boy in animation, and you all should strive to be like Bryan." And I was like, "Who fucking know?"
There was
That
one
was
or
my
two
first
teachers,
impression.
and they were real bad for that. And they would, I guess, if I think John described them as that, like if you wanted an ego boost, they'd fucking
Oh yeah.
they'd inject you.
That's so funny because like to everyone I knew with those teachers, they were brutal.
Oh yeah. I got on very well in college, but I was a bollocks. I had a great time.
Bryan, you were a bollocks for the first half of first year.
Then
And then at
I won John over.
at some point I was the guy being like, Bryan's not that bad.
Well, what happened was in January 2007, I apologized to everyone. I said, you know what, new year, new Bryan.
Did you?
I stuck to it.
Do you know, Bryan? I remember you. Our friendship was on such different trajectory, and it's not that I disliked you. It's just that I was much slower to warm to our friendship than you, because I remember you ringing me up and being like, "Guess who got 2 tickets to 9 Inch Nails?" And me being like, "Oh, did you?" And you were like, "Yeah." I was like, "Who are you gonna bring?" And you were like, "You!" And I was like, "What?" And then you invited me to your birthday, and I was like your birthday down in Cork at some point.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like 20% sure you were bringing me there to murder me, because I was like, why would Bryan invite me to this?
Might still happen.
Yeah. I'm not sure I remember our first meeting, Niamh.
No, John just kind of started showing up at like when all the gays used to meet up to drink. Suddenly John was there, and I was just like, I guess he's just this new gay guy that we're friends with.
And I was like, wow, sure is interesting to be the only straight person here.
So he just kept
Figuring
showing
it
up
out.
at our pre-drinks and just became friends through that.
I remember we talked about video games like here and there in college, but like never like very consistently or anything.
I remember you telling me about Dead Space, and I should check it out if I liked Resident Evil 4. I said, okay. It's one of my favorite video games.
That was the
Niamh.
thing with Niamh. Like,
Hell yeah.
you were the only person in college who was into video games on my level.
Yeah, same with you guys.
Yeah. And like with you, Bryan, like when I met you first, you were still very like Nintendo-y.
I was
like,
so excited about that fucking Wii.
You didn't play. I don't think you really played anything outside Nintendo.
Nah.
But then like over the course of college, you
Got 360'd.
Yeah, because the Wii sucks.
Yep.
It's not a good. It doesn't have good games.
Yeah, but like after going from knowing people in secondary school, like knowing literally just one guy actually in secondary school who played like all the games I could talk to him about, John was like the first guy I met who had like a wide range of games that you would play. And you were like up and interested to talk about them in interesting ways and not just be like, yeah, I played it.
I think you don't even you're kind of, you can be kind of aloof, and especially in college.
Oh yeah.
And I took that as like, oh, I think Niamh fucking hates me. For like a good long time, and the only point that stopped is I remember once we had a mutual friend who invited me over to your place, and when I got there was a birthday party happening, and I was like, is this Niamh's birthday, right? And she was like, yeah, it is. And I was like, oh, for fuck's sake. Like, 'cause I was like, Niamh's gonna be like, I knew you wouldn't say it, but I was worried that like in your head you'd be like, why is this fucking guy here?
Because you're gay.
But then, but then you spent, I think, that entire night hanging out with me, and I was really surprised by that.
You just gotta get me alone. I'm very not good in groups. I find groups like really anxiety inducing, so I always get really quiet in them, and people presume that I'm kind of, I guess, aloof or bitchy, but I am just half blind and mostly afraid.
Niamh's a good corner scratcher. You put her in a corner.
Get me in a corner, we're good to go.
Yeah, we'll fucking dig it out. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Niamh, I can't wait for your birthday this year.
Why?
You know the way...
Can we finally have a party?
I've never had a party for my birthday.
You know the way I guess among us and our partners, we find birthday presents for each other in advance, and it'll be like 9 months ahead, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna order this now. Can't wait.
Okay, I get you.
Niamh's a fun one to like prepare for.
I'm easy to shop for. I have a lot of hobbies.
She does.
Do. And you don't buy like a lot of fun things for yourself, as in terms of like, you won't buy like a lot of figures or anything like that.
No, I'm too busy buying stuff to glue my broken house back together with.
Okay, another quick question. If you were in
We're really flying through these.
If you were in a Final Fantasy type world, what non-standard item object would you choose to battle with? Non-starter weapons are Lulu's dolls, Kate Sid's megaphone.
Oh, Setzer's dice or cards.
Pogo stick.
What do you got, Niamh?
Vibrator.
I knew it. I fucking
There we go.
knew
That's
it.
so good.
The moment you started doing that laugh, I was like, here comes the vibrator joke.
Here comes the buzz.
An orange. Like a mandarin.
An orange is pretty good.
Just roll that shit on the floor. They won't know what's going on.
A while ago, Bryan pitched that my mount in a game would be myself. So maybe like me shrunk down to a third size, and I'm like, go get him.
It was meant to be a mundane object, like one you might have.
Does it say mundane?
Yeah, it's like a prop.
Oh.
Kind of like an everyday prop.
Okay, not that then. A pair of headphones that plays magic music. I don't fucking know.
You looked at my headphones and said
Yep,
that.
that's it.
Have you ever been given nicknames over the years?
Nothing rhymes with Niamh, so no. 'Cause
Probably behind my back, but not to my face. John has a variety of
I
names.
tried to get BJ O'Sullivan going in college, but you were having none of it.
Yeah. You had Boss in college.
Boss was pretty good.
Boss
Yeah.
was good, yeah. That lasted. I do like the John, but using the J, but saying other names instead, like John.
John, what, like double barrel John was a thing in college for a long time.
The full name.
Full name.
I also did with Colin Reed. You can't say his first.
But it wasn't just with you, it was with everyone.
Weird, because of
Like
P-Boy.
well into friendships, people would only refer to me with like,
That's because there was another John.
not for long.
But he's only ever known by his surname.
Pivoy, yeah. John Pivoy Week. It's like the greatest artistic thing we've ever done.
So proud of John P.O.E.
Fucking brilliant.
It's been 10 years now. Okay. If you could adopt one of any animal species as a pet and they were guaranteed to listen to your commands, which animal would you choose and why?
My answer for this is extremely obvious. So you guys go ahead.
I want a burrowing owl.
Oh, I would like an armadillo, please.
Yeah, just something that goes deep.
Or pangolin.
Pangolin would be great.
What's a pangolin?
It's like sand slash or
Sans?
sandshoe.
Yeah, and they walk on their hind legs.
Pokemon. Yeah.
So like a little skeleton.
Kind of like a little armored.
Those are pretty cool.
They're kind of like raccoons in their dexterity and size, but they're armor plated like a sand slash or
I think a
sandshrew.
sloth could be kind of fun.
Slots are pretty good. Okay. Did you have any shitty high school jobs? If so, what were some of the pros and cons of the job?
In my hometown there is a marina, so if you got a job like in the town, it would usually be cleaning boats. So I used to clean the holiday boats that they used to rent out to people, and that sucked because you're just dealing with a whole pile of like chemicals and scrubbing toilets. But I did actually quite like cleaning things. I used to get really lost in the vibe of cleaning down
satisfying.
stuff, but I wasn't able to do it fast enough because I was always like very, it's not spotless though. And they were like, yeah, you need to move on, Niamh, come on.
You should. There's probably some very satisfying simulation games waiting for you.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. I worked in inner city retail in Dublin, and that was a hellish experience.
Yeah, retail is shitty. Like, it's not that the job is shitty, it's the customers. I like the days when you just have to do inventory or you're told to go into the back room and count stuff on a shelf. Treasure those moments.
My bosses were fucking assholes. They were such a pain to work for. And then I got a different retail job in a different shop, and my bosses were really nice, and it made all the difference. Except we got found out for Sunday scamming.
What was Sunday scamming?
So Sunday the shop was open for 8 hours, but we had an arrangement where it was meant to be 4 people in for the 8 hours, but instead 2 people would come in for the first 2 hours and then leave 2 hours early, and 2 people would come in for the So basically, there was a period at the start of the day and end of the day where there was only 2 people, but we just pretended that we worked them and we got paid, and they got caught the week after I left.
No,
I didn't care. Later, fuckers.
If you were challenged to a duel and could choose the combat competition method, what would you choose to give yourself the best odds of victory? What is your special skill and how do you... One Piece trivia.
You'd be so good at that.
I would just want to play a game of chance. Like dice rolls, Monopoly, Jenga.
Something about a game of chance with you specifically, Niamh, would frighten me.
For some reason you have like a psychic edge, I don't know why.
There's something
I don't know.
about that. I think it's like that you would care slightly less.
Exactly. If I win, great. If I die, there's a 50-50 chance.
I guess for me it'd be something physical. I'm pretty decent at arm wrestling, but probably like jiu-jitsu fighting. But yeah, that kind of stuff.
Okay. I'm around your age. I was born in 1989. Whoa. But have only recently been able to move out of my parents' house because life is expensive.
Nice going.
Congrats. Okay. How did your relationships with your parents, siblings change once you were not living in the same house?
Ooh, I think the first time you move out, it's kind of difficult because for me at least, there was this...
You are homesick.
No, I wasn't homesick. I was
really
delighted to get the fuck out of that, goodbye. But because of that, there was a bit of like, are you not coming home? And I was just like, no, I have stuff to do and jobs and things to take care of. So I think there was finding a balance of like how much you should go home and how much you should kind of be like, I have something here, and that's the time that you have to respect as well, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because like, especially if you live far away, like travel takes a lot out of you as well. And I think over the length of time I've lived out of home, because I moved out when I was 18, that has gotten better because you're able to set better boundaries of what kind of is expected of you. But I think there's definitely maybe tension when you move out first and people kind of like, why aren't you not around? Especially if there's other siblings that are around and maybe you miss things.
I've heard of that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it's like you grow up with each other, but then you stop growing up with each other.
Yeah. Like, or if someone gets sick and it's just like, well, you weren't here as much. And it's just like, because I don't live there.
Yeah. When I was a student, I missed it because like I was in accommodation and it was fine, but I missed home. But then when I was working in real life with a job and all that, it's fine.
Yeah, I'm an only child, so I don't have any brothers or sisters, and like I'm very close to my parents. I found moving out really difficult because I have always been very close with them, and I had this, there's just this realization when I moved out of how good they were to me and how much shit they put up with for my sake, and I missed having that shit done, but I also felt like really guilty that I had never appreciated all the stuff they did do for me. I think what was nearly worse than that though was I really loved my dog. I loved her so much. She was really like the closest thing I had to a sibling, and I had a weird complicated relationship with that dog for a long time, and it's weird to talk about, but like it was like quite a contentious relationship that eventually turned into a really, really close relationship. And I always remember like the day I moved out, my parents were actually on holiday. They were gone, and so it was just me and that dog. And I remember like my mom used to tie a bow around the dog's collar sometimes, and it would come undone, and so it would just be this like little ribbon hanging from this dog, and she looked really sad and pathetic.
Oh.
And I remember like I didn't have a way to tell her that like I'm not going to be around anymore, and it broke my heart, and I bawled crying, like just clutching this little Jack Russell and being like, I'm going to miss you so much. And I really missed the shit out of her so badly, and that's still like an emotional memory for me. Like she was awesome, she was really great, and I think that nearly more so than anything else was the hardest part of moving out for me.
I agree, leaving pets behind is kind of difficult. I remember one of the first things I really wanted to do when I had more space and I wasn't in college anymore was get a dog straight away, because you feel that like gap from your family pet in the kind of interim of kind of getting your own pet kind of thing. It's
It is.
It's really hard. Animals are very good for every part of you.
And I still feel it. I'm considering buying cat food. Don't own a fucking cat.
You gotta get some cat food.
I think you should just get some cat treats and give the cat some treats.
Yeah,
and if someone tells you, please don't feed my cat, then you just go,
fuck
okay.
you.
No, you say okay.
My cat now, asshole.
If you just buy those tiny little resealable pouches with the dry food, you're good to go.
Okay.
Feed the cat. It's cute.
And at the very end, thanks for indulging these fabulous questions. I think we all grew a little wiser.
I think he's right. You want to do one more?
Yeah. Let me just find
one more, Niamh?
Yeah, sure.
Let me just find a quickie.
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
This one is from Matt. Boss Cast Cereal. Loving this. Okay. Hey, Bryan, Niamh, and John. Whoa, those are our names. Okay. If you could make your own cereal, how would it taste? And what would the box mascot look like? Thanks for the podcasts. Okay, so we got to come up with our own cereal brand.
Okay, I feel like that the area of cereal is underserved by vanilla, and so I would make a vanilla flavored cereal, and I would have it in the flavor. I would have it shaped like little polar bears, and the front cover would be like a muscly polar bear, but like he's fucking pissed.
Are these like grain polar bears, or are they marshmallowy?
Oh,
Like, how healthy is this for you?
it's not healthy, Niamh.
Okay.
It's not healthy.
It's Christmas
Yeah,
cereal.
it kind of like a lot of the marketing is to make you think it's healthy. Like the polar bear's fucking buff, but like these are going to be like half your calories in one day.
Does this polar bear put Tony the Tiger to shame?
Yeah, one of the marketing slogans is Tony the Tiger is a fucking pussy.
Because this polar bear is just gonna like outflex him in every department.
Yeah, totally.
I want
Not so great anymore. That's another one, and it's Tony the Tiger's funeral. Vanilla burrs is what I call them.
I want something that's good in fiber, but it's also sugary. So I want some sort of shredded wheat thing, but it has to be small shredded wheat. You get a lot of shredded wheat, and it's those neatly packed pillows. I want something with some fraying on it. I want you to cut your mouth a little bit.
Okay.
I'm going to call them hedgehogs because they're going to be spiked.
Nice.
They're
yeah.
going to be Spike the Hedgehog. But then on the underside, so one side's going to be kind of like frayed fiber, like bran, whatever, or wheat, and then the other side is going to be some sort of like squishy, fruity thing, or like a sugary thing. Yeah, no, it's got to be something kind of like maple. I want maple in it. Okay, and I want the box art to be autumnal, and I want a hedgehog in the woods, and there's leaves everywhere, and he's draining maple syrup, and he's having a good time.
Just a little warning, Bryan, you mentioned fiber in yours, and my cereal will gunk you right up.
So it's just cement.
Yeah.
Okay, so mine is real good
It's
for
a
digestion.
lot of paste, and I don't know what hardened paste. I don't know what that is, but it's very cheap to produce. Oh, I got you, Bryan. I got you.
I just think about the poor child. It's like, we want that, and the mom's like, you're not getting that. You were awful last time. You're in a terrible mood.
Niamh?
Mine would just be rebranded Rice Krispies, called Rice Krispies 2.
Well, that's the fucking... She wins.
Are you changing Snap, Crackle, and Pop in any way?
They look a little older.
They're
kind of Vin Diesel.
They're more jaded.
Yeah, they're more jaded.
One of them got kind of buff.
Yeah.
One hasn't shaved in a while. Okay, thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, everyone. Patreon shoutouts.
You're gonna be like vague and coy about the Patreon web address as well?
No.
No.
Do you want to know why? We like your support.
How many new patrons do you guys want to let in this time?
I think I have room for 6 more in my heart.
6 more. Mm-hmm. Bryan? 6?
5.5. Figure it out.
Okay, guys. I'm going to open the gates and I'm going to allow 6 more people in. After that, if you want to donate money to us, listen, no offense, but fuck off. 6 more, and that's it. Like, I'm dead serious here. I don't want to have anything to do with you if you're later than that.
You should definitely try and be one of those 6.
Yeah.
The perks are amazing.
Oh my god. Have you, like, I have never met a member of the Let's Fight a Boss Discord who was not adamant that it had dramatically improved the quality of their life.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It just fixes everything.
You can come into the Let's Fight a Boss Discord and you can talk shit at me, and I'll ban you immediately because I'm not putting up with that for any amount of money. But just there's an option.
It's money well spent. Mm-hmm. Don't do that.
Mm-hmm. That I really wouldn't. But
No.
yeah.
We have a channel called Patreon Shoutouts. If you leave us a message, it'll sound something like this. Niamh, you got the first one?
This is from Shawnee. Can I get a shout out ahead of January when I turn 30? And my question, you guys ever visited Copenhagen? I'm Irish, but living there, so was curious. What do you guys thought of the city?
We should also just note that message was delivered in 2019.
So, Shawnee,
Happy 30th birthday.
So Shawnee's like what? Like going
32 next
32.
year.
Okay,
Yeah.
Shawnee, happy 32nd birthday.
Happy
Yeah.
birthday, Shawnee. Copenhagen, I haven't been, but I would love to go. Like, I would love to go many places.
Yeah, same. Never been curious about it.
I feel like this is a really specific vendetta I'm wandering into here. But Son of Enki, I want John to say everything Studio Period has ever done has been mediocre. And you know what? Can I just talk about Studio Period for a little bit?
Didn't they do the Phoenix Wright anime?
They're fine. Studio Period are fine. They're the people you get if you want to do your long-running shonen and have parts of it pretty good. They did a lot of Naruto. They did a lot of Naruto Shippuden, and there's some great animation Naruto Shippuden. Some people think the fight with Pain doesn't look good, and that's cool. Some people don't understand art or animation. They did the Sonic 1996 cartoon. They did a bunch of Bleach, and Bleach is a fantastic looking anime. So yeah, I like Studio Period. Not the most exciting studio, but they're solid.
Dano says, I would like to hear what you think of Nacho Libre, the film from 2006.
That's a fun, weird, surreal movie.
It's the Jack Black luchador movie.
Yeah, it's much stranger than you think it will be.
It's from Jared Hess, who did Napoleon Dynamite. I was just remembering another film Jared Hess made called The Gentleman Broncos, which is made, I think it was made at the end of the...
I think I've seen that.
We've seen it. It's a very special movie.
Does a snake shit on someone?
Okay, so the trivia... Okay, so... You know the way there's a bit where a guy comes in a white... Okay, this is a film called Gentleman Broncos. Came out in 2009. It's from the same director as Nacho Libre and Napoleon Dynamite. This is one of the fucking weirdest movies, and I love it. So I'm sorry not to talk about Nacho Libre, but Gentleman Broncos, holy shit. There's a bit where a man who's dressed like a cult leader comes in with a fucking python around his neck, and... unprepared, this wasn't scripted, the python shits itself and leaks the shit all over the guy's white suit. The guy who has the python is the creator of that hotel show on HBO. What's it called? The one we just watched.
Oh, yeah, I know the one.
The White Lotus.
Yeah.
The White Lotus creator has a snake and does shits on him.
And like, I feel like I need to stress... When you hear of a snake shitting, I know it doesn't sound like a big deal. There is so much shit.
Okay, so this is going to be one of our loot drops. I'm just going to present it.
I think it's one of the most I've ever laughed at anything in a movie. It's horrifying.
It makes a noise and everything.
So yeah, have you seen Nacho Libre?
I haven't seen it. No.
It's fun. It's weird.
I think I've seen it, but I forgot.
It's not like Jack Black in a children's movie about wrestling. It's Jack Black in a weird semi-art house comedy about wrestling. Loot. Drop.
So from all of us, Gentleman Broncos snake shitting clip.
Okay.
Niamh, is that okay?
That's good by me. Sounds great.
Do either of you guys have any? The docket's blank.
Yeah, I have one.
I have one.
Okay.
Mine is just, I searched something on YouTube and I typed in a song and an aspect and I got a bunch of results. Just want to share those results with you.
This is the vaguest loot drop we've ever done, and I'm down with it. Okay, I got actually two that I want to do. First is Dave Chappelle only tells half the truth, and this is from FD Signifier. And I've really been a fan of Dave Chappelle for, I'd say, like the last year or two. He says shit I don't agree with, but I have to be honest in that I really find his comedy very funny, and I've really like found a lot of stuff he has to say about like black culture like really insightful and, you know, a very interesting perspective put forward in a very forceful way. And that's a huge part of what made his recent stuff so fucking embarrassing. Like, just, oh shit, I forgot that this is an old rich boomer, you know. And it's difficult to know how to talk about that. But I think FD Signifier wrote an absolutely killer video on it, and I thought he really, really did a good job in kind of exposing a lot of the kind of cowardly hypocrisy behind Chappelle's most recent stuff. And FD Signifier has done a lot of great videos. I've spoken to him briefly, and he is a lovely man. And I really, really... this video really got me, and it really did. And he's talking about doing a wrestling video, and I'm very excited about that. Also, real quick, Eddie Kingston, one of my favorite wrestlers, recently wrote a very personal and passionate article about, I think it was him who wrote it, unless someone ghostwrote it for him, but it sounds like him, about his mental health struggles, and it's like very raw and very honest and very uplifting. And I think, you know, wrestling is notoriously terrible for like having a high rate of suicides and being just a very rough lifestyle, and this is a really fascinating insight into that and just like what a cool and interesting person he is. So yeah, those are my two.
My loot drop is Maintenance Phase. It is a podcast by Michael Hobbs and Aubrey Gordon. Michael Hobbs does the other podcast that I loot dropped a while back, which was You're Wrong About. And Maintenance Phase kind of has a similar vibe. It basically debunks junk science around dieting culture and health food and wellness fads. So like different fads like, you know, cookies that will keep you thin or medication or anything like that. And just like fad diets, like pure juice diets and stuff. And it kind of debunks all of that and just kind of tracks the history of wellness culture and kind of scam culture and how that all intersects.
I did like a little bit of reading up on that before, and it was a lot of it where it's just like, it's basically tricking you into the same shit marketed differently.
Yeah, it's just multi-level marketing and using crystals.
It's just like, oh, cool, so this is going to put you in a calorie deficit. Well, yeah, but it's juices this time, you know?
Yeah, and it's basically all of that. And the perspectives you get is like Michael Hobbs and Aubrey Gordon. And Aubrey Gordon is a fat woman who talks about a lot of her own personal experience, like with dieting and how these fads targeted her when she was like a teenager and younger, and just a lot of like the issues facing fat people like in society and just in medical issues where people won't listen to them. And it's been a very insightful podcast. Aubrey's also like devastatingly funny, and every time she laughs, it just like, you know when someone has a lovely laugh and it just kind of lights up your world a little?
It's contagious.
Yeah, it's just like, it's so good. When one of them comes out with a real zinger, that laugh hits, and I'm just like, mwah, beautiful.
Nice.
But yeah, really good podcast, very easy to binge, but also very insightful and good information.
Bryan, yours was the snake shitting itself.
No, it's a song.
Okay. Oh, sorry.
The snake shitting itself is from Niamh.
Okay.
I'm gonna round it out.
Yeah. It's just something everybody needs to see.
I see. And speaking of something everybody needs to see, we're seeing the end of this podcast.
Audibly. Visually? Potentially.
You know, Bryan, I was hoping we could just fly under the radar on that one. I'm a little tired. I couldn't finesse the ending the way I'd like, and I was hoping we could just roll past it without pointing it out. Niamh, cut his mic.
He's off.
I'm off. Yeah, you should cut the mic now, John. It's fine. So, John, do you want to just say, okay, I'm stop recording? Do you want to just lay it out?
What are we laying out?
Thoughts and feelings?
I ate so much over the week of my birthday, I put on 6 pounds.